Beloved ones, before you seek the flow of money, seek first the understanding of divine energy. For all things seen are born from the unseen. Every coin, every note, every opportunity you hold has first existed in the invisible realm of spirit. And what you call money, the world of spirit calls divine supply. You were never meant to struggle for it, chase it, or fear it. You were meant to align with it. For money, like breath, like sunlight, like love itself, is simply another form of God's energy in circulation. The mind of man has created division, calling some things spiritual and others material. But there is no separation in divine law. All is spirit. The difference lies only in consciousness. One who sees money as material will serve it. One who sees it as divine will command it. The world has taught many to say, "I need money." But heaven whispers instead, "You are money in expression." Because every thought, every intention, every word you speak is a current, an electrical vibration that moves through the unseen world and draws its physical reflection to you. When you understand this truth, you stop asking, "Where is my money?" and begin asking, "Where is my faith?" For faith is the magnet of every manifestation. It is the open gate through which divine energy flows into visible form. You are never in lack. You are only in unawareness. The river of supply has never stopped flowing. It is your doubt that has built the dam. The moment you remember that God is your source and money is His messenger, your whole vibration changes. You no longer see money as a struggle, but as a servant of divine intention. Say silently within yourself, "Divine substance is my supply. It flows to me freely, richly, and constantly. Nothing and no one can withhold what God has ordained for me." As you speak those words, feel the shift. You begin to see that abundance is not something you must earn. It is something you must awaken to. The same infinite intelligence that created galaxies also governs your finances. The same spirit that gave life to stars is breathing through every opportunity in your path. Beloved, money is not outside of you. It is a reflection of your inner energy. When your heart is heavy, your flow slows. When your spirit rejoices, your flow multiplies. Because the universe is not responding to your need. It is responding to your belief. Every time you say, "I can afford this," the law of increase awakens. Every time you say, "I cannot," the law of limitation obeys. For every word you speak is a command to the universe. You are the vessel through which divine money energy flows. Your gratitude opens the valve. Your fear closes it. And your faith keeps it running endlessly, effortlessly, infinitely. So today, as you listen, I want you to forget the idea that money is a problem. Forget the stories that tell you it is scarce or evil. Forget the fear that you must work yourself to exhaustion to earn it. Instead, remember this money is God in motion. It is the physical echo of your spiritual belief in supply. Breathe in slowly and affirms. The substance of the universe is alive with prosperity. It moves toward me now, through divine law, in perfect peace. And now that your mind is still, your heart is open, and your vibration is aligned. Let us step into the deeper revelation of this truth. Money is an alive energy. There is a secret most people never learn. Money is not dead paper. It is not a number in your account. It is not something you chase or beg for. Money is alive energy, a divine current that flows through the same spiritual substance that created you. When you see money as something separate from you, you block its natural flow. But the moment you awaken to the truth that you and money are one in the same field of divine abundance, you begin to magnetize it without effort, without strain, without fear. Money responds to recognition. It moves toward those who understand its divine nature. It is not the banknote that carries power. It is the belief that gives it life. The same way your breath is invisible but keeps you alive, the energy of money is unseen yet ever present, circulating, multiplying, expanding. When you think of money with love, gratitude, and faith, you open the invisible gates of supply. But when you think of it with fear, anxiety, or doubt, you shut them. The universe never withholds. The law never delays. It is the mind of man that delays his good by focusing on absence instead of abundance. The moment you remember that the substance of money is God's energy in motion, you step into alignment with the infinite supply that never runs dry. I say to you, hold a dollar bill in your hand. Feel it. Close your eyes and whisper, "You are not paper. You are energy. You are life. You are divine supply in visible form." When you speak these words with conviction, you charge that currency with faith. You awaken the living law within it. You declare, "Money, you are not my master. You are my servant. You flow freely through me, multiplying under grace and in perfect ways." This is the secret. Money is a living vibration that listens to your tone. When you speak in fear, it hides. When you speak in gratitude, it dances. When you bless it, it multiplies. You can never run out of money, because you can never run out of energy. The more love and faith you give to this divine current, the more it gives back. Tenfold, hundredfold, infinitely. Say with me, I now recognize money as divine, living energy. I am a perfect channel for its flow. It moves to me, through me, and around me, endlessly, effortlessly, and abundantly. Feel those words vibrate within you. Because the moment you speak them, you begin to magnetize all forms of prosperity. Not just cash, but ideas, opportunities, and helpers who carry your blessings toward you. Remember this divine truth: money is not earned. It is allowed. You allow it by thinking thoughts of supply, by blessing what you have, by giving thanks before receiving. The act of gratitude is your magnet. The act of fear is your block. So never again say, "I don't have money." Instead say, "Money is alive. It hears me. It recognizes my faith and multiplies under divine law." For the universe does not respond to lack. It responds to awareness. And when your awareness shifts, your life shifts. The law of money is the same as the law of love. What you bless increases. What you fear disappears. What you ignore withers. But what you honor grows beyond measure. Money is not against you. It is for you. It longs to serve you, to build through you, to move through your hands as a blessing to the world. You are not chasing wealth. You are awakening to it. It has always been here, waiting for your recognition. So today, affirm with a heart full of faith, money, you are divine substance. You are alive with God's power. I welcome you with joy. I use you with wisdom. You multiply under grace and in perfect monies. And so it is. Because when you treat money as sacred energy, it becomes your silent partner, your divine ally, your faithful friend. It follows your peace, not your panic. It reflects your faith, not your fear. Money is alive. It listens. It obeys the vibration of your belief. And the one who walks in truth never walks in lack. I am one with the infinite supply of the universe. Money is divine energy flowing to me now. Every dollar I touch is blessed, multiplied, and magnetized by love. I do not chase money. I attract it through divine alignment. Money recognizes my vibration of peace and flows to me effortlessly. Every time I spend, I bless the money, and it returns multiplied. The universe responds instantly to my faith in abundance. I am a magnet for opportunities, prosperity, and divine wealth. Money serves me as I serve divine purpose. I honor money as sacred energy, and it honors me with endless flow. I am connected to the source of infinite riches. I now receive money easily, frequently, and in ever-increasing amounts. Divine substance takes form through me now, under grace and in perfect ways. I am never in lack, for God is my supply. My every need is met instantly and abundantly. Money is alive, conscious, and joyfully obeys my faith-filled words. I bless money coming in and I bless money going out. I am surrounded by divine opportunities. I am free. I am abundant. I am prosperous. And so it is. Money is divine substance in motion. I am one with the flow of infinite supply. Every dollar that comes to me is blessed by divine love. Every dollar that leaves me returns multiplied and purified. I am never in lack, for God is my unfailing source. The substance of the universe is abundant, inexhaustible, and alive. Money recognizes my faith and flows toward me with ease. I now release all fear around money. I welcome abundance as my natural birthright. I am open to receive money in expected and unexpected ways. My words are magnets for divine prosperity. Every thought I think plants seeds of financial increase. I bless my bills, for they represent the circulation of good. I am in perfect harmony with the vibration of wealth. I see money as energy, and energy obeys my belief. I speak abundance. I attract abundance. Money loves me because I love it with purity and purpose. I am divinely guided in every financial decision. The law of compensation is now working in my favor. I forgive all past mistakes about money. My finances are healed under grace and in perfect ways. Money comes to me easily, frequently, and abundantly. I am grateful for the prosperity that surrounds me. My wallet, my bank account, and my hands overflow with divine supply. The riches of the universe are drawn to me effortlessly. I am aligned with the energy of expansion. Everything I touch prospers. I radiate wealth, peace, and purpose. I spend money with joy and it returns multiplied. My wealth is a blessing to me and to the world. Divine ideas constantly create channels of income for me. I am worthy of luxury, comfort, and ease. My financial life is a reflection of divine order. The energy of money flows freely through my life. Money is my servant, I am its wise steward. Every cell in my body vibrates with prosperity. I release all scarcity from my consciousness. I attract clients, opportunities, and miracles with grace. The more I give, the more I receive. My giving is blessed and my receiving is multiplied. Divine substance now takes form as wealth in my hands. I am thankful for the abundance that is already mine. My words are commands that create riches. I trust divine timing in all financial matters. Money is not hard to get. It is my natural companion. Every breath I take aligns me with abundance. Prosperity surrounds me, fills me, and expresses through me. The river of money never stops flowing. I am calm, confident, and certain of my wealth. God's wealth circulates through me constantly. I have more than enough to bless others. I am the embodiment of divine prosperity. My mind is magnetized with thoughts of success. Every act of gratitude increases my flow. I am financially free, emotionally peaceful, and spiritually rich. The universe delights in prospering me. I honor my money, and money honors me. Money is light, love, and life in motion. I am surrounded by divine opportunities for increase. Wealth is not something I chase. It is something I remember I already am. I am guided to right actions that lead to abundance. I release competition and choose divine completion. Money is attracted to my joy, not my effort. I am an open vessel for wealth and miracles. Every door I walk through opens into prosperity. I am thankful for new streams of income now forming for me. My savings, my business, and my work are all blessed by divine law. I deserve abundance because I am a child of the infinite. The more peace I hold, the more prosperity flows. I am the living expression of wealth made visible. Money flows to me now, under grace, in perfect ways. I bless all those who prosper, and their prosperity blesses me. I live in a sea of abundance and I am never without supply. My prosperity uplifts the vibration of the world. The divine source never fails me. Money is alive, aware, and responsive to my faith, and so it is. Every life is shaped and molded by the words spoken into it, whether those words rise from one's own lips or echo through the atmosphere from others. Words are not idle sounds, they are living currents, vibrating with the power of creation. A word is a seed, small in form but infinite in potential, and no seed once sown can fail to bring forth after its kind. To understand this is to take hold of the very lever by which destiny is moved. For as surely as the farmer who plants wheat cannot expect thorns, so the soul that plants words of faith and riches cannot reap poverty or fear. Most people speak carelessly, as though words were feathers tossed into the wind, light and inconsequential. Yet each syllable has substance. It takes form in the unseen before it appears in the visible. We are always sowing, always creating, always writing the script of our lives with the utterances we allow to pass our lips. A complaint here, a declaration of lack there, and the soil of the subconscious receives it without question, as a faithful servant carrying out a master's command. The law does not discriminate between jest or earnestness, between ignorance or wisdom. It simply brings forth that which is spoken. There are those who say, "I do not believe words matter. It is action that counts." Yet action is only the body of the word. The word is the spirit that animates action. No deed can come forth without first being conceived in thought and shaped in speech. To say, "I can," sets unseen forces to work in your behalf. To say, "I cannot," halts them as though a door has been slammed shut. One word opens the path, the other blocks it. That is why the Master declared, "By thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned." He knew the law and sought to impress it upon every listener. Think for a moment of the child learning to speak. Each new word becomes a doorway to experience. To name an object is to claim it in consciousness. To say light is to perceive brightness. To say mother is to call forth love and safety. As the child grows, the vocabulary of life enlarges, and so too does the field of possible experience. In the same way, when a soul learns to speak words of truth and abundance, life enlarges to match the higher vocabulary. To introduce riches, health, peace, victory into daily speech is to introduce them into daily reality. But what of those who have spoken wrongly for years, who have sown a field of weeds and now find themselves surrounded by lack? Must they remain bound to their careless harvest? No, for the mercies of the law are new every morning. A single right word spoken in faith begins the clearing away of error. Just as a lamp instantly banishes darkness, so the spoken word of truth begins to dissolve the accumulated results of false speech. The power of transformation lies not in the past, but in the present declaration. Consider the one who constantly says, "I never have enough." The subconscious obediently reproduces the condition of insufficiency, arranging circumstances so that wages fall short, bills increase, and opportunities pass by unseen. Yet let that same one awaken to the law and begin to affirm, "My supply is endless and ever-present," and a reversal begins. Channels open, work comes forth, and the habit of lack dissolves as mist before the rising sun. It is not chance, it is not fortune, it is the law responding to the right word. Words are the tools by which the invisible is shaped into the visible. They are like chisels in the hands of the sculptor. The block of marble, before you, may appear rough and unyielding, yet with steady strokes it becomes a figure of beauty. So too the conditions of life may appear hard and immovable, yet every word spoken in faith chips away at the stone, revealing the divine design that has always lain within. Without the chisel, the statue remains hidden. Without the word, the riches remain unformed. The ancient sages declared, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." This is not poetry alone but revelation. Creation itself unfolded by the spoken command, "Let there be light." The universe did not stumble into being, it was called forth. If man is made in the image and likeness of the Creator, then he too possesses the faculty of calling forth by the word. When he says, "Let there be abundance," and believes, abundance is set in motion. When he says, "Let there be harmony," harmony begins to unfold. He need not toil endlessly in the outer, for his speech is the unseen labor that brings results. Therefore, to guard one's words is to guard one's future. to bless rather than to curse, to affirm rather than to deny, to speak riches rather than poverty. This is the first step on the path of manifestation. For riches do not follow toil alone, nor do they follow chance. Riches follow the right word. The law of the spoken word is not hidden in mystery. It is simple, exact, and unfailing. Every word spoken sets vibration in motion. Those vibrations move into the unseen substance of life, and from that substance form takes shape. Man is never without a tool, never without a creative instrument, for his very tongue is the rod of authority. When you say, "I am strong," strength begins to marshal itself on your behalf. When you say, "I am weak," weakness hastens to fulfill your decree. One word lifts, another word lowers. One word opens doors, another shuts them tight. You may think you are simply talking, passing the time with idle chatter. But the law does not hear casualness, it only hears command. It receives your words as orders, and it carries them out with precision. Look about you, and you will see that no condition comes uninvited. Poverty does not stumble into a life by accident. Sickness does not settle in without a cause. They have been called, perhaps unconsciously, by words of fear, words of complaint, words of doubt. A man who forever says, "Money slips through my fingers," will surely watch it slip away. A woman who continually declares, "I take every cold that comes around," will find her body obeying the suggestion. The word spoken is law fulfilled. Yet the same power that binds is the power that frees. The very law that answers the wrong decree with lack and limitation will answer the right decree with health, abundance, and peace. This is the glory of spiritual law. It is impartial. It does not weigh your worthiness, nor does it measure your past. It simply reflects your present word. The question, then, is not whether the law will work for you. The question is, what are you commanding with your lips this very day? Consider the river. It flows steadily, seeking its level. Place a stone in its path and the current does not cease. It simply moves around the obstacle. So it is with the law. Your negative word may place obstacles in the current of good, yet the river still flows. Remove the stone with the right word, and the waters of abundance rush in unhindered. The supply was always there. It is your decree that determines whether the channel is blocked or open. Some imagine that long prayers and complicated rituals are needed to move the hand of God. But life responds not to length of speech, but to alignment of speech. One word of truth spoken in faith carries more weight than 1,000 words of fear. The centurion said, "Speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed." He understood the law. He knew that the spoken word, rightly charged with authority, carried the full power of healing. So it is with riches. To say, "I prosper," when appearances shout otherwise, is to set a greater law into operation. The seen yields to the unseen. Conditions bend before conviction. The outer must eventually conform to the decree of the inner. It is not wishing, it is commanding. It is not begging, it is declaring. For the word is seed, and every seed contains its harvest. Perhaps you have heard someone protest, "But I must speak what I see. I cannot call myself rich when my purse is empty." That would be untrue. Yet faith speaks not of what is seen but of what is promised. The gardener does not deny the barren earth. He plants his seed and declares a harvest. He says, "This ground shall yield wheat," though the soil looks bare. He speaks in alignment with the law of growth, and the law fulfills his word. In the same manner, to speak of riches when lack appears is not falsehood, it is truth on its way to manifestation. Therefore watch well your words. Do not permit your lips to speak what you would not welcome into your life. Guard against complaint, for it breeds more to complain of. Resist the temptation of self-pity, for it invites more cause for sorrow. Instead, fill your mouth with decrees of good. Say, "I walk in divine supply. My path drips with abundance. Riches follow me because I speak the right word." Such affirmations, repeated with conviction, become the very fabric of your experience. The law of the spoken word is as sure as the sunrise. Whether you believe it or not, it is working. Whether you ignore it or employ it, it is working. Therefore, the wise do not speak carelessly. They do not throw words about as idle ornaments. They speak with intention, knowing that every utterance is a seed, every seed is a harvest, and every harvest shapes the destiny of their lives. And so I say again, riches do not come by accident, nor by toil alone, nor by chance. Riches follow the right word, and the right word spoken in faith never fails to bring forth after its kind. There is a difference between words that are idle and words that are right. Many imagine that because they chatter endlessly, they are safe. For what harm could such common words do? But let me tell you, every word is a seed, and some seeds bring forth thorns, while others bring forth roses. The soil of the subconscious does not ask whether the seed is good or bad. It only brings forth after its kind. Therefore, the wise soul learns to plant only the right seed, only the right word. What then is the right word? It is the word aligned with truth. It is the word spoken in harmony with the divine order of the universe. It is the word that carries faith rather than fear, abundance rather than lack, life rather than death. The right word is never careless, never doubting, never crooked. It is straight, clear, and certain. When the lips declare it, the whole of heaven and earth hasten to obey. The wrong word is equally powerful, but in the opposite direction. To declare, I am tired, again and again, is to drain the body of strength. To say, nothing ever works out for me, is to command the law to arrange disappointments. The wrong word binds, the right word liberates. The wrong word closes doors, the right word swings them wide. You may think you are describing your condition when you say, I am poor, but in truth you are decreeing more poverty. You may think you are venting when you say, I am unlucky, but you are fastening misfortune to your path. That is why it is written, let the weak say, I am strong. Why? Because the weak man who says, I am strong, begins to draw upon the strength of the infinite. He is not lying, he is aligning. He is not pretending, he is proclaiming. And the law, impartial and unfailing, begins to rebuild his life according to that word. The power of right speech is not in volume but in vibration. A whisper of truth carries more authority than a shout of fear. A single affirmation of abundance, spoken with faith, outweighs 1,000 complaints of lack. Do not imagine that many words are needed. One word, rightly chosen, rightly believed, rightly spoken, is enough to turn the tide of a life. Let me give you an image. Picture a key. It is small, it is simple, yet when placed into the lock it opens what no amount of pushing or forcing could move. The right word is that key. You may strive with effort, you may labor with worry, and still the door of abundance stays closed. But speak the right word, calm, steady, full of faith, and the door swings open as though it had been waiting for you all along. Every soul must therefore become a watchman at the gate of speech. Before you let a word pass your lips, ask yourself, is this a right word? Is it aligned with the life I desire, or is it chained to the life I would leave behind? Is it pulling me forward into abundance, or backward into want? If it is not the right word, do not let it pass. For every utterance goes forth as a messenger, and it will return bearing fruit. Do not underestimate the power of even casual speech. Many say, oh, I was only joking, when they declare lack or failure, but the law does not laugh. The law does not jest. The law fulfills. Every word, whether spoken in play or in earnest, carries its vibration into the substance of life. That is why the wise man fills his mouth with blessing, with gratitude, with prosperity, with health. His very casual words carry seeds of life, and so his harvest is good. Begin, then, to train your tongue. Let it become accustomed to right speech. Replace complaint with thanksgiving. Replace doubt with affirmation. Replace fear with faith. Say, I am guided. I am prospered. I am supplied. Do not wait for appearances to change before you speak the right word. Speak the right word, and appearances will change. The power of right speech is the power of creation itself. It shapes the unseen into the seen. It takes the formless and gives it form. It calls into being that which had no existence in the outer world until it was spoken. You may hold a vision in your mind. You may nurse a dream in your heart, but until it is clothed in words, it remains unborn. The right word is the breath that gives life to the dream. So guard your lips, for they hold the keys to your kingdom. Do not waste your inheritance on words of lack and limitation. Speak life, speak truth, speak abundance. For every right word spoken in faith builds a path, and upon that path riches will surely follow. An affirmation is not a wish. It is not a timid hope whispered into the wind. An affirmation is a decree, a spiritual command issued with the authority of one who knows his divine inheritance. It is the word of man joined with the power of God, and no such word returns void. When you affirm, you do not beg, you do not plead, you do not wonder. You command, for you are speaking in alignment with eternal law. Let no one confuse affirmations with mere positive thinking. A positive thought without faith is like a lamp without oil. It promises light but offers none. But when faith fills the heart, and the right word is spoken, the lamp is lit, and darkness flees. An affirmation is not made strong by repetition alone, it is made strong by conviction. 10,000 hollow words cannot equal one word spoken in faith. Hear me well when you affirm. You are not trying to create something that does not exist. You are aligning with what already is in the unseen. Abundance exists now. Health exists now. Peace exists now. They are present in the great storehouse of spirit, waiting for your recognition. Your affirmation is the key that unlocks the storehouse. By it, you claim what is already yours. Suppose a king's treasury is filled with gold. His subjects live in poverty only because they do not enter to claim their portion. The king does not withhold it, he has already decreed it theirs. But they must step into the treasury and take hold. So it is with affirmations. They are the stepping into the treasury. When you say, I am abundantly supplied, you are not fabricating riches, you are drawing upon what heaven has already provided. Consider the power of the simplest affirmation, I am. These two words carry creation within them. Whatever you attach to, I am, you invite into your life. Say, I am weak, and weakness hurries in. Say, I am strong, and strength rallies around you. Say, I am poor, and poverty answers the call. Say, I am rich, and riches begin their march toward your path. Guard well what follows, I am, for it is the most powerful decree a soul can utter. Now, let us clothe these truths in living words. Say with me, I am divinely supplied. My supply is endless, inexhaustible, and immediate. Riches come to me in perfect order, through channels of divine selection. I am guided to right opportunities, and all that is mine by divine right now flows to me with ease and joy. Speak it not as a hope, not as a dream, but as a decree. Feel the authority of it. Let your whole being bear witness that it is so. Another, I walk in health and strength. Every cell of my body is radiant with life. I am renewed, restored, revitalized. The law of perfect health governs me, and every organ, every function, every nerve responds to divine harmony. Do you feel the difference? You are not begging health to come. You are commanding health to manifest. And again, I am surrounded by peace. Nothing can disturb the calm of my spirit. Harmony reigns in my mind, in my home, in my affairs. Divine order governs all that concerns me. Say it, and the very atmosphere begins to shift. For words spoken in faith move not only within you, but around you, arranging circumstances, drawing people, opening doors. You may ask, but must I repeat these affirmations daily? Yes, as the farmer waters his seed daily. Repetition is not vain when it is done with faith. Each time you affirm, you are watering the soil of the subconscious, strengthening the roots, hastening the harvest. But let each affirmation be alive, not dull. Do not mumble as though reading from a list. Speak with fire, speak with conviction. Speak as one who knows that heaven is backing every word. Affirmations are spiritual commands, and commands are not questioned. When the officer gives an order, the soldiers obey. When the captain speaks, the ship turns. When the master calls, the servant runs. So too with life. The law does not argue. It does not hesitate. It fulfills. Therefore, speak your affirmations with the tone of command, not of uncertainty. Do not say, I hope to prosper. Say, I prosper now. Do not say, I wish for health. Say, I am health now. For the universe hears your word and hastens to obey. Every affirmation is a decree stamped upon the substance of life. The stronger the faith, the swifter the manifestation. Therefore, learn the holy art of right affirmations. Let your lips declare the truth until your whole being vibrates with it. Then watch as heaven and earth conspire to bring it forth. Remember always, your affirmations are not requests. They are commands spoken in divine authority. And every command, when aligned with truth, brings riches, health, peace, and joy in perfect and appointed ways. Riches are not the privilege of the few, nor the accident of the fortunate. Riches are the divine right of every soul, for man was created in the image of a limitless creator. To think otherwise is to believe a lie. Poverty is not holiness, nor is lack a sign of virtue. The universe is abundant, overflowing, inexhaustible, and you are heir to its supply. To live in want, when riches are your birthright, is to live beneath your inheritance. Look upon nature and see the evidence. The earth does not stint itself. The trees do not bear a single leaf and call it enough. They clothe themselves in thousands upon thousands. The fields do not produce a solitary blade of grass, but a carpet thick and full. The ocean does not give a drop but waves in endless succession. If creation is lavish, how can the child of the Creator be destined for meagerness? It is false belief, not divine decree, that holds a man in want. Yet when I speak of riches, let it be known that I mean more than coins in the purse or figures on a ledger. True riches are health of body, peace of mind, love in the heart, joy in the spirit, and supply for every good work. Money alone, without these, is but dust. But when money flows in harmony with health, love, and peace, it becomes a channel for good, a tool for blessing, a servant of the soul. Do not confuse riches with greed. Greed grasps, riches flow. Greed hoards, riches circulate. Greed breeds fear. Riches bring freedom. The law of riches is the law of circulation. As the blood must move through the body to bring life, so wealth must move through your hands to bless. To give is to keep the current alive. To withhold in fear is to clog the stream and invite stagnation. Therefore, claim your riches boldly, not for selfish gain but for divine expression. Say, I am rich in order to bless. I prosper in order to give. I receive in order to pour forth. Many shrink back from such affirmations, saying, but I am not worthy. Others may have abundance, but not I. To that I answer, worthiness is not earned, it is inherited. A child does not earn the right to sit at his father's table. He sits because he is a child. So it is with you. You are a child of the infinite. The table is set, the feast prepared, the portion waiting. Your worthiness is established by your birth in spirit. It is unbelief that blinds the eyes, fear that binds the hands, doubt that shuts the door. But the moment you declare, riches are my divine right, the shackles fall. For truth always sets free. Poverty is bondage, but abundance is liberty. Lack is limitation, but supply is expansion. When you know that riches are your right, you cease to beg and begin to command. You stop envying and start affirming. You no longer grasp at shadows, for you stand in the sunlight of truth. Let me give you an image. Imagine a man standing before a great orchard. The trees are heavy with fruit, the branches bending under the weight of apples, pears, and figs. Yet he stands outside the fence, saying, I dare not enter. Perhaps the fruit is not for me. Perhaps I am not allowed. So he hungers while plenty surrounds him. But the truth is this, the orchard belongs to him. The gate is open. The fruit is his portion. All that is required is that he step inside and gather. Such is the folly of those who live in lack while riches abound. They have only to claim their inheritance, and the feast is theirs. Therefore declare daily, I claim my divine right to abundance. I do not shrink back in fear, nor do I doubt my inheritance. Riches are mine by right of consciousness, by right of creation, by right of divine law. As you speak, the law responds. Doors open, channels appear, supply flows, and you find yourself walking in the reality of that which you once only affirmed. Do not despise small beginnings. Perhaps today you see but a trickle. Give thanks for it, bless it, and affirm more. The trickle becomes a stream, the stream becomes a river, the river becomes an ocean. Riches do not arrive as a thunderbolt, but as a steady, unfolding manifestation. Each right word spoken in faith enlarges the flow until your life overflows with good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Yes, riches are your divine right. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. Not for another, but for you. The law has no favorites. It answers to faith, not to faces. And the one who dares to speak the right word, to affirm his inheritance, to command his supply, will find that heaven and earth move to bring it forth. Truth is best seen in demonstration. A law may sound lofty when spoken, but when it is lived and proved, the heart grasps it and the mind cannot deny it. So let me give you examples, for stories carry the seed of faith into the soil of imagination, where reason alone may fail to plant it. There was once a woman who came to me in despair. She said, "I have prayed, I have worked, I have begged heaven to supply my needs, but my purse remains empty, and bills press me on every side." I asked her, "What words do you speak daily?" She answered, "I am always saying I cannot afford this, I cannot pay that. I confess constantly that I am poor." Then I said to her, "You are not confessing poverty, you are commanding it. You are not describing lack, you are decreeing it. Change your words, and you will change your life." I gave her the affirmation, "I am abundantly supplied. Money comes to me in unexpected ways. My purse is filled, my bank account grows, and I always have plenty to spare and to share." At first she resisted, saying, "But it is not true. How can I speak abundance when I see only lack?" I said, "You are not speaking of appearances. You are speaking of truth. Appearances change, truth does not. Speak the truth until the appearances yield." She obeyed, though with trembling. Each day she declared her supply. Each day she planted the seed. Within a fortnight she received a letter from a relative long forgotten, enclosing a sum of money owed to her late husband years before. Other channels opened. Work was offered. Opportunities multiplied. In less than 3 months her despair had turned into rejoicing, and she said to me, "I see now that riches truly follow the right word." Another came, a man weary of illness. He said, "I am always sick, always weak, always failing." I asked, "Why do you tell yourself so?" He replied, "Because it is the truth." I answered, "No, it is the lie of appearances. The truth is health, strength, and life. You are aligning with sickness by your words. Align with health, and health will answer." I gave him this affirmation, "I am life. I am strength. Every cell of my body radiates divine vitality. I am renewed, restored, revitalized. The law of perfect health governs me." He scoffed at first, but desperation moved him to try. He repeated it morning and night, and whenever fear of weakness overtook him, slowly his strength returned. Slowly his body responded. Within the year he was walking in health, where once he had dragged himself in sickness. Again, the law proved true. The right word brings the right manifestation. Even children demonstrate this law with purity, for their hearts are not yet hardened by doubt. I recall a little girl whose mother feared she would fail her lessons. The child had overheard her mother say, "She is slow, she cannot learn, she will fall behind." Those words were binding the child's mind. But I taught the mother to change her speech and affirm, "My child is quick, intelligent, and divinely guided in her studies." The mother obeyed, and soon the child's learning blossomed. Words had shackled her, and words had set her free. Do you see the pattern? The law does not waver. Whether it is money, health, work, or learning, the spoken word brings forth its kind. Wrong words bind, right words liberate. Wrong words starve, right words feed. Wrong words darken, right words illumine. The scriptures are filled with parables to teach this very law. Did not the Israelites complain in the wilderness, saying, "We are but grasshoppers, and the giants shall devour us"? And what they spoke they received. Their words bound them, and they wandered in lack. Yet Joshua and Caleb declared, "We are well able," and their words opened the way to the promised land. 2 words of faith outweighed a multitude of words of fear. And is it not written that the widow spoke her need to the prophet, and her pot of oil did not fail? Her words aligned with supply, and supply met her. Words opened the way, and the law of abundance fulfilled itself. So I say to you, learn from these examples. Do not wait for appearances to shift before you speak the right word. Speak, and appearances will shift. Do not argue with the soil, plant the seed. Do not wrestle with the darkness, light the lamp. Do not beg for abundance, affirm it. For every story, ancient or modern, proves the same riches, health, peace, and joy follow the right word. Now that you have heard, you are no longer as those who walk in darkness. You know the law, and the law is simple: words build, words bind, words bless, and words break. You cannot say, "It is only speech." No, speech is seed, and seed is destiny. Therefore, choose this day what harvest you will reap. You hold within your mouth the power of life and death. You hold upon your tongue the key to the storehouse of heaven. With your lips you may decree lack, or with your lips you may decree abundance. With your lips you may call forth sorrow, or with your lips you may summon joy. Every morning, when you rise, the law waits for your word. Every night, when you lie down, the law fulfills what you have spoken. The law does not sleep, the law does not slumber. It is working always, shaping, forming, manifesting. Therefore, I charge you, speak only the right word. Let no idle complaint pass your lips. Let no fearful whisper escape your mouth. Cast from you the language of poverty, the language of sickness, the language of despair. Replace it with the language of faith, the language of abundance, the language of health, the language of victory. Let your words be wands of power, not chains of bondage. Say daily, "I am abundantly supplied." Say hourly, "I prosper in all my ways." Say continually, "I am health, I am strength, I am peace, I am joy." Do not weary in repeating these affirmations. For every time you speak them, you strike another blow against the wall of limitation. Every time you declare them, you open another channel for supply. Every time you affirm them, you call forth another angel of abundance to minister to you. Do not measure by appearances. Appearances are shadows, the word is substance. Appearances change, the word endures. Appearances deceive, the word is truth. If you see lack, do not speak it. Speak abundance, and lack will vanish. If you see sickness, do not claim it. Speak health, and sickness will dissolve. If you see failure, do not bow to it. Speak success, and success will rise to meet you. The right word conquers every false appearance. And do not say, "I have tried, and nothing has happened." The seed once sown does not spring up in an instant. It lies hidden, it takes root, it pushes through the soil, and then it bears fruit. The farmer does not dig up the seed each morning to see if it grows. He waters, he waits, he trusts the law of growth. So with your affirmations, do not uproot them with doubt. Do not cancel them with contradictory speech. Speak them, water them with faith, and wait for their harvest. The law cannot fail. Remember, you are not a beggar in the house of God. You are an heir. You are not a servant groveling for scraps. You are a child seated at the Father's table. All that is His is yours, and all that is yours is spoken into being by your word. Riches are not withheld from you. They are waiting for your claim. Health is not withheld from you. It is waiting for your affirmation. Peace is not withheld from you. It is waiting for your decree. So rise in faith. Lift your voice with authority. Speak as one who knows the truth, not as one who doubts. Speak as one who commands, not as one who begs. Speak as one who reigns, not as one who fears. And as you speak, know that heaven moves, the earth responds, and the law fulfills. For riches do not follow toil alone. Riches do not follow chance. Riches do not follow fear. Riches follow the right word.
Money is not a stranger, nor an enemy. It is a faithful servant awaiting the word of command. It responds not to struggle or worry, but to the clear voice of authority that comes from one who knows their divine right to abundance. The universe is a treasury, overflowing with wealth. Yet it is not seized by force, it is summoned by command. Money is like a messenger, always listening for its master's call, always ready to obey when it hears the tone of certainty. When one speaks with fear, money hides, but when one speaks with assurance, it hastens forward. The invisible currents of supply move at the sound of the right word, the word spoken in faith, in alignment with the great law of prosperity. Every individual has within them the power to speak this word. It is not a gift for the few, it is an inheritance for all. The command does not come from the lips alone, but from the consciousness behind the lips, the knowing heart that accepts wealth as natural and rightful. As long as one clings to doubt, the command falters, and money waits in silence. But when the soul awakens to its authority, the command rings true, and money looks for you. Yes, it seeks you out, it finds its way through channels seen and unseen. The command is not begging, it is not pleading. To beg is to confess lack, to plead is to admit uncertainty. The command is a declaration, strong and calm, money, you are my servant. You come to me in perfect ways, at the right time, in the right measure, to fulfill every need. Such words spoken with conviction create a vibration that stirs the ethers. Invisible forces are set in motion. Opportunities are drawn like iron to the magnet, and doors open where none appeared before. Money does not wander aimlessly. It follows the track laid by the word of authority. Many imagine money as elusive, difficult to attain. But this is an illusion born of fear and separation. In truth, money is obedient, it longs to serve. It is waiting at the gate of command, waiting for the individual to speak with clarity. Just as the soldier waits for the order, just as the instrument waits for the musician's touch, so does money wait for the one who knows their power to direct it. The law is precise, unerring, impartial. It gives according to the word spoken, the thought held, the belief maintained. When one learns to issue the command without wavering, the outer world reshapes itself. Money comes by expected and unexpected paths, flowing like a river that finds its course. It comes through work, through gifts, through sudden chances, through the kindness of strangers, through the invisible orchestration of events. Always it answers the command. Always it looks for the one who has called it forth with authority and faith. Money is a servant, not a master, and obeys the voice of command. This simple truth overturns centuries of fear, struggle, and superstition around wealth. For ages, humanity has bowed before money as though it were a capricious ruler, granting or withholding according to its whim. Yet in reality, money has no will of its own. It has no power to dominate, no authority to enslave. It is substance in motion, a symbol of energy, a tool fashioned for service. The only master it recognizes is the consciousness of the one who calls it forth. To see money as a master is to live under bondage, but to know it as a servant is to stand in liberty. The servant does not instruct the master gives the order. So too with money. It does not decide who is worthy, who is ready, or who shall receive. It listens, it waits, it responds. When the individual speaks from fear, money reflects fear. When the individual speaks from power, money reflects power. If one says, "I never have enough," money obeys and remains scarce. If one says, "Money comes to me easily and abundantly," money obeys and appears in abundant ways. The servant simply follows instructions, faithfully and without question. To grasp this is to understand that money has no personality. It is not cruel when absent, nor benevolent when present. It carries no memory of the past, no judgment of the present, no expectation of the future. It is impartial, as neutral as water, as obedient as an echo. It only flows according to the channel carved by thought and word. When one commands with conviction, the channels widen. When one doubts, the channels narrow. It is not money itself that governs life, but the tone of the command issued to it. This truth is hidden in plain sight. Observe those who seem always surrounded by prosperity. They do not beg money to come. They do not chase it anxiously. They walk with assurance. They speak with authority. They act as if wealth belongs to them by right. And so it does. The servant obeys their tone. Money hastens to fulfill their orders, because the orders are clear and unwavering. In contrast, those who revere money as a master tremble before it, treat it as scarce and unreachable, and so it slips away from them like sand through the fingers. The servant cannot obey when the command is filled with contradiction. Consider the sun and the shadow. The shadow has no power of its own. It only appears when the sun is obstructed. Likewise, the seeming power of money over a person is only the shadow cast by their own fear and disbelief. When fear is lifted, money stands revealed in its rightful place as a loyal servant, ready to move at the sound of the word. To treat money as a master is to live in shadow. To know it as a servant is to walk in the light of dominion. This dominion is not arrogance, nor pride, nor vain boasting. It is the quiet recognition of law. The master does not need to shout, for the servant hears even the calmest word. The command need not be frantic, for the servant is ever attentive. One may say softly, "Money, you are my servant. You come when I call. You move when I direct. You serve every good purpose in my life." and the unseen substance of supply will begin to stir, to gather, to take form. The words are not magic, they are alignment. The authority lies not in volume but in certainty. Money obeys because it is bound by law to obey. Just as gravity responds without fail, just as the seed responds to soil, so money responds to command. It cannot resist, it cannot refuse. It cannot rebel. It has no power to say, no. If it does not appear, it is not because it denied the order, but because the order was unclear or mixed with doubt. The servant stands idle when the master is indecisive. The instant the order becomes firm, the instant the word is spoken with unwavering belief, money moves. It seeks out the path, it arranges the means. It manifests through channels both ordinary and extraordinary. Imagine a great household, where the master commands and the servants respond. If the master hesitates, stammers, or contradicts himself, the servants grow confused. They wait, uncertain of what to do. But when the master speaks with clarity and assurance, every servant knows their place, every duty is fulfilled. Money is such a servant. It does not think for itself, it does not invent its own tasks, it merely carries out what is commanded. The clearer the word, the swifter the obedience. Money as a servant is tireless. It does not sleep, it does not rest, it does not grow weary. It moves ceaselessly in the unseen, arranging opportunities, drawing resources, shifting circumstances, until it finds its way into the hands of the one who called it. To believe money is scarce is to tell the servant to hide. To believe money is plentiful is to tell the servant to reveal itself. The servant has no will apart from the master. The master alone determines the form and the measure. This changes the very posture of life. No longer must one chase money anxiously, no longer must one fear its absence. Instead, one stands in calm authority, knowing the servant is always near, always attentive, always ready. To worry is to issue the wrong command, for worry is an order in disguise. Worry says, stay away. Faith says, come forth. The servant responds faithfully to either. Thus, every thought is an order, every word a decree, every belief a command. The master must choose wisely, for the servant never fails to obey. Money is a servant, not a master, and this truth, once accepted, lifts the burden of struggle. It restores dignity, it restores peace, it restores command. One no longer bows to money as though it held the keys of destiny. Instead, one stands upright, speaks the word, and watches as the servant obeys. Money is not greater than the one who calls it, for the master is always greater than the servant. The command is law, and money, being a faithful servant, obeys. True command comes from inner faith, not outer pleading. The words alone, spoken without conviction, are like empty shells that carry no life. Pleading arises from fear, from the belief in lack, from the hidden thought that perhaps the request will not be answered. It is the language of doubt dressed in the clothing of desperation. When a person begs for money or opportunity, the very act of begging testifies that they do not believe they already possess the authority to summon it. Pleading places the power outside of oneself, as if some force, some distant gatekeeper, must be persuaded or convinced to release supply. But the law of abundance requires no persuasion, for it is impartial and unfailing. The universe does not respond to pleading, it responds to faith. Faith is the essence that gives weight to command. Without it, the word falls to the ground unheard. With it, the word travels like lightning through the unseen, setting into motion forces beyond human sight or calculation. Faith is the knowing that what is spoken already exists in the invisible, that the moment the command is given, the servant of supply has already begun to move. Pleading says, perhaps it will come, perhaps it will not. Faith declares, it is mine now, by divine right. Pleading weakens the voice, while faith strengthens it with authority. A child never pleads with the parent for bread, for the child knows provision is natural. The child simply speaks, or even assumes, and the provision appears. This is the posture of command. To plead is to imagine separation from the source, to command is to know oneness with it. The one who commands does not doubt, does not tremble, does not attempt to persuade. They speak, and in speaking they release the creative power within. Faith and command are inseparable. For command without faith is noise, and faith without command is silence. The outer world is but an echo of the inner state. When the inner life is filled with fear, pleading becomes its natural expression. The lips cry out for help, the heart wonders if it will be answered, and money ever obedient reflects the uncertainty. It hides, delays, evades, because the order is mixed and contradictory. But when the inner life is grounded in faith, the voice speaks with quiet assurance, and money hastens to obey. The command may be as simple as, "I am supplied in full measure," and the unseen begins to arrange itself accordingly. Faith speaks with the calm certainty of one who knows the outcome is already secured. Faith is not noise, nor is it many words. Pleading often repeats itself endlessly, thinking that repetition will make it more effective. Yet endless repetition is often a sign of inner fear, not inner power. True command may be spoken only once, but its vibration is so complete, so filled with conviction, that the universe cannot resist. A single word of faith outweighs 1,000 cries of pleading. The force lies not in the number of times the words are spoken, but in the consciousness from which they rise. This is why so many struggle with supply, though they cry out for it day and night. Their words are many, but their faith is little. They are like the farmer who plants seeds but doubts they will grow, so he digs them up repeatedly to check if they have sprouted. Such doubt disrupts the process, and the harvest is delayed. The one who commands plants the seed of word and trusts the soil of the unseen to bring forth the fruit. He does not plead with the soil to produce. He knows it is its nature to do so. Faith does not ask if the law is willing, it knows the law is constant. Just as gravity never wavers, just as the sun rises without fail, the law of supply is steady and impartial. Pleading implies that the law might be moved by persuasion, that it might bend to desperation. But the law bends to nothing. It operates with precision, responding only to faith-filled command. The law does not show partiality to the rich or poor, the learned or unlearned. It responds solely to the vibration of belief behind the word. True command is not arrogance, for arrogance is rooted in insecurity. Pleading and arrogance are but two sides of the same coin, both stemming from a lack of faith in the law's unfailing operation. True command is calm, steady, without display. It is the confidence of one who knows the truth. Just as a king does not plead with his servant to carry out an order, the one who knows their authority does not plead with money to appear. They speak once with assurance, and the servant obeys. There is a quiet power in the voice of faith. It does not need to prove itself, it does not need to shout. The power lies in the certainty, in the unshakable inner conviction that what is spoken is already accomplished. Pleading is loud because it doubts it will be heard. Command may be soft, yet its echo is eternal because it carries the weight of truth. Faith fills the word with life, and life cannot be denied. The mind that pleads is always focused on lack. It sees only what is missing, and so it speaks from that vision. But the mind of faith sees beyond appearances. It sees the invisible abundance that surrounds and penetrates all things. When it speaks from fullness, not from emptiness. The servant of money, hearing the voice of fullness, rushes to bring forth its evidence. Pleading reinforces absence, command reveals presence. Faith is like the anchor that steadies the ship amid the storm. Pleading is like a vessel tossed by every wave, uncertain of where it will land. The command born of faith is immovable. It does not matter what appearances say, it does not matter what circumstances look like. Faith speaks, and appearances must change to match its decree. Pleading speaks, and appearances remain the same, for the voice of pleading carries no creative authority. The difference between pleading and command is the difference between bondage and freedom. One bows down to circumstances, hoping they will change. The other stands upright and declares, knowing circumstances must obey. Pleading gives power to the outer world, treating it as master. Command reclaims power from within, recognizing the outer world as servant. This inner shift transforms everything, for when the tone of command is found, money responds unfailingly. Faith is not merely belief, it is knowledge. It is the knowing that comes from aligning with law, the certainty that cannot be shaken by delay or appearances. Pleading always fears delay, it questions, it wonders, it doubts. But faith holds steady even when nothing yet appears, for it knows the unseen has already begun to move. The command born of such faith is irresistible. Money, hearing the note of certainty, hastens to obey. Money, authority attracts it. The universe listens not to the cry of desperation, but to the tone of certainty. Begging carries within it the vibration of lack, the hidden confession that the good one seeks is absent and difficult to attain. Authority, on the other hand, speaks with the vibration of possession, the calm knowledge that what is called for already exists in abundance and only awaits the signal to appear. The invisible laws of supply are never moved by anxious words or pleading tones, they are activated by the assurance of command. To beg is to push money away, to tell it through thought and word that it is separate and unwilling to come. To stand in authority is to draw it magnetically, to open the gates through which it flows. Begging is rooted in fear, and fear is a signal of doubt. The beggar says, I hope, I wish, I plead, I implore. But beneath the words lies the belief that perhaps nothing will happen, perhaps no answer will come. Money, being obedient to belief, mirrors this uncertainty. It lingers, delays, or hides because it has been instructed to do so. Authority is rooted in faith, and faith is certainty. The voice of authority says, I speak, and it is done. Money is my servant, and it obeys. There is no struggle in this tone, no doubt, no hesitation. The very sound of it carries weight, and the unseen substance of supply hastens to follow. When one begs, they bow before money as if it were a master, as if it held the power of choice over them. This is a false image, for money has no will, no power to grant or deny. It is only a reflection of consciousness, a servant that moves as commanded. By begging, the individual assumes a posture of inferiority, placing money above themselves and treating it as the ruler of their fate. The more one begs, the more one confirms this false order, and money withdraws. For it cannot obey contradictory instructions. The servant cannot act when the master abdicates authority. Authority does not shout, nor does it plead. It simply speaks with calm assurance. The tone of authority carries conviction, and conviction is magnetic. Just as iron filings leap to a magnet, money leaps to the voice of one who knows their power to direct it. This is why authority attracts money. It is the signal of alignment with the law of supply. The law does not respond to need, nor to fear, but only to belief. Begging focuses on need, proclaiming it louder with every word. Authority focuses on fulfillment, speaking from the certainty that the need is already met. Imagine two individuals, one cries out for money day and night, repeating their need endlessly, hoping that by sheer persistence they may convince the universe to grant them relief. The other speaks once with conviction. Money comes to me in perfect ways. My supply is abundant and ever-flowing. The first continues in lack, for their words reinforce the image of absence. The second begins to see doors open, opportunities arise, unexpected channels appear, for their words declare abundance. The universe is impartial, it does not favor one over the other, it simply reflects the tone of their belief. Begging repels because it is infused with doubt. Authority attracts because it is infused with certainty. This principle can be seen in all of life. The person who approaches others with desperation often finds themselves avoided, for desperation carries an unsettling energy. The one who approaches with confidence and calm assurance is welcomed, for assurance carries harmony. Money responds in the same way. It gravitates toward confidence, it flees from desperation. To beg is to send forth the energy of desperation, to broadcast the signal of lack. To stand in authority is to send forth the energy of assurance, to broadcast the signal of plenty. One attracts, the other repels. Begging is noisy, filled with repetition, always trying to persuade. Authority is quiet, often needing few words, yet its weight is undeniable. Begging says, please. I do not know if you will come. Authority says, you come, for I have spoken. The one tone is wavering, the other steady. The one sends money away, the other draws it close. This is why so many who spend years pleading for prosperity never find it, while those who calmly affirm their wealth with faith often see it appear quickly and naturally. Money is never offended by authority, for authority is its natural language. It was designed to serve, to obey, to move at the word of command. It only seems offended when approached with begging, because begging is the opposite of the law. Begging says, I am powerless, and you are greater. Authority says, you are powerless, and I am greater. The truth is that the individual, aligned with the law, is always greater than the symbol of money. Money is lifeless without command. It has no breath, no power, no direction apart from the consciousness of the one who calls it. Authority is not arrogance. Arrogance is hollow, born of insecurity, and beneath its loud words lies fear. True authority is steady, born of inner faith. It does not need to prove itself or to force. It simply knows. The voice of true authority may speak softly, but its effect is powerful, for it carries the resonance of conviction. Money cannot resist conviction, just as an echo cannot resist returning the sound. It must respond, for it is bound by law. The beggar often feels exhausted, for pleading drains energy. Each word spoken from fear consumes the vitality of the speaker, leaving them weary and disheartened. Authority, by contrast, energizes. Each word spoken from faith strengthens the speaker, filling them with peace and assurance. The beggar lives in tension, waiting anxiously for evidence. The one who commands rests in calm, knowing the evidence is inevitable. Money flows to the restful spirit far more swiftly than to the anxious one, for rest is the signature of faith. Begging repels money not because money refuses, but because begging issues a contradictory order. To plead is to say, I do not have, and the law, impartial and exact, reflects it as absence. Authority attracts because it issues a clear and consistent order. I have, and the law reflects it as presence. The universe does not argue, it does not interpret, it does not weigh intentions. It simply mirrors the tone of the command. Those who learn to stand in authority cease chasing money. They cease fearing it, worshipping it, or begging for it. Instead, they allow it to chase them, to seek them out, to appear at their call. Authority turns the tables, restoring the rightful order. Money was never designed to rule the individual, it was designed to serve. Begging turns the servant into a master and leaves the individual in chains. Authority restores the servant to its rightful place and leaves the individual free. Words spoken with certainty set unseen forces into motion. The universe is not silent, nor is it unresponsive, it is alive with movement, vibration, and law. Every word carries its own frequency. Every declaration a signal that ripples through the invisible realms. When the word is spoken with hesitation, the ripple is weak, scattered, and uncertain. When the word is spoken with certainty, the ripple becomes a wave, steady and commanding, gathering power as it travels. The unseen responds not to the sound of the voice, but to the vibration behind the voice. Certainty is the key that unlocks the flow of energy, while doubt locks the gates. A person may repeat the same phrase again and again, but if it is spoken without conviction, it carries little weight. Another may speak only once, but with such assurance that the unseen immediately stirs. It is not the abundance of words that creates movement, but the authority contained within them. Words are like seeds. The soil of the universe does not yield to empty shells, but when the seed is alive, it sprouts and multiplies. The life within the word is certainty, the unwavering belief that what is spoken is already accomplished. Invisible forces are ever at work, awaiting direction. They are neutral, impartial, unceasing. They do not ask whether one is worthy or unworthy, deserving or undeserving, they only follow instruction. The tone of certainty is the signal they recognize, for it aligns with the eternal law of creation. The command, I am prospered now, spoken with unwavering conviction, sends these forces into motion. They begin to arrange circumstances, to shift opportunities, to open channels, until the visible world matches the invisible decree. A word of doubt halts them midway, a word of fear scatters them. But a word of certainty drives them forward until fulfillment is inevitable. This is why every thought and word must be guarded. Casual words spoken carelessly may carry hidden fear, and the unseen forces do not discriminate between what is spoken lightly and what is spoken with intent. They only mirror the vibration. To say repeatedly, "I cannot afford this," is to instruct the unseen to maintain lack. To declare, "All my needs are abundantly met," is to instruct the unseen to supply. Certainty amplifies the command, shaping energy into form with precision and speed. The certainty in words does not come from outer evidence, but from inner alignment. Outer evidence may still show lack, but certainty does not waver, for it knows that the outer must eventually bow to the inner decree. To wait for visible proof before speaking with confidence is to wait forever. The proof comes after the command, not before it. Certainty is the invisible evidence, the assurance that the word has already been heard and answered. Those who speak with this assurance move unseen forces without struggle, for the forces are compelled to obey the vibration of truth. When words are spoken with certainty, they leave a mark on the mind as well as on the universe. They begin to rewrite the inner image of the self, strengthening belief, dissolving fear, establishing authority. This inner change radiates outward, drawing corresponding conditions. People, opportunities, and resources appear as if by coincidence, but nothing is coincidence. It is the outworking of the unseen, guided by the command. Certainty imprints itself on the soul, and the soul in turn shapes the external world. Words of certainty are not loud, they may be whispered, but their effect is vast. The power is not in volume, but in vibration. A whisper of faith can shake mountains, while a shout of doubt moves nothing. Those who learn this secret waste no energy in trying to force or persuade. They speak once, with clarity and assurance, and allow the unseen to unfold the outcome. Their trust is complete, their certainty unshaken, and so the universe bends swiftly to their decree. The unseen forces that respond to certainty are limitless in scope. They are not bound by distance, time, or circumstance. A word spoken in one place can rearrange conditions in another. A word spoken today can prepare opportunities months ahead. Certainty carries a creative command that transcends boundaries. When one says, "I am divinely prospered now," unseen messengers move immediately, orchestrating events, arranging encounters, aligning details, until prosperity manifests in visible form. The person who doubts sees none of this activity and assumes nothing is happening. But the one who speaks with certainty knows the work is already underway, and their calm assurance keeps the forces in motion until completion. It is not unusual to hear people declare prosperity with their lips while holding fear in their hearts. Such words lack certainty and therefore lack power. The unseen listens to the heart, not merely the tongue. To speak with certainty is to unite word and belief, to bring inner conviction into harmony with outer expression. This unity generates irresistible force. Contradiction between heart and tongue weakens the command. Certainty is integrity between inner and outer, and integrity releases energy unhindered. Every great achievement has been preceded by words spoken with certainty. Inventors, creators, leaders, all who brought forth new realities began by declaring them possible, often in defiance of appearances. Their certainty set forces into motion that carried them beyond obstacles. What they spoke became substance because their conviction allowed no alternative. In the same way, every individual may command their own prosperity, health, and success by speaking with certainty. The forces that shape galaxies and sustain life are the same forces that answer to the confident word. Certainty is magnetic. It not only sets unseen forces into motion, but also draws others into its field. People sense it, often without knowing why. They feel drawn to one who speaks with conviction, trusting them, opening doors for them, offering opportunities. Money itself gravitates to certainty, for certainty is aligned with order, and money is substance seeking order. When the voice of authority speaks, everything in the universe conspires to answer. This is why one must practice certainty until it becomes natural. Repetition with belief deepens conviction, transforming the doubtful mind into a confident one. Each word spoken with certainty strengthens the pattern. until speaking with authority becomes as effortless as breathing. Then every word is alive, every declaration carries power, and unseen forces respond instantly. Words are no longer idle chatter, but instruments of creation, shaping reality with precision. To speak with certainty is to accept full responsibility for one's command. The universe takes words literally, without interpretation, and fulfills them accordingly. Certainty ensures that the words chosen are clear, aligned, and purposeful. Careless words scatter forces in conflicting directions, while certain words focus them like a beam of light. The more focused the command, the faster and fuller the response. The unseen is always listening. It does not rest, it does not pause, it does not hesitate. It waits for the voice of certainty to give it shape and direction. Every word spoken with authority becomes a blueprint. The unseen builds according to that blueprint with absolute precision. Certainty draws the blueprint in bold lines, leaving no room for error. Doubt sketches faintly, erasing itself with every hesitation. The stronger the certainty, the clearer the pattern, and the faster the unseen translates it into form. Money waits patiently for the individual's clarity and direction. It is never absent, never withholding, never resisting. It is like a faithful servant standing quietly at the door, waiting for the master's clear instruction. It does not intrude, it does not move on its own, it does not force its way into one's life. It abides by law, and the law requires clarity. Until the order is given with precision, money remains still, watching, listening, waiting for the unmistakable tone of certainty. Many believe money delays, that it is difficult or elusive, but in truth, money is always near, attentive, and ready. What creates the sense of delay is not money's reluctance, but the individual's confusion. One day they call it forth. The next day they repel it with words of doubt. 1 hour they declare abundance, the next they declare lack. The servant cannot act when the master sends conflicting signals. Clarity is the key that releases money from waiting into action. Direction gives it the path along which it flows. Without clarity, it waits. Without direction, it wanders unseen. Money does not respond to vague requests. To say, "I need more money," is to send a formless call into the universe. How much is more? When is more? For what purpose is more? The law of supply deals in precision, not vagueness. When one says, "I receive perfect provision for every obligation, every purpose, every desire," the command is clear. Money hears and moves accordingly. The clearer the declaration, the swifter the response. Like a ship awaiting orders at port, money will not sail until it knows its destination. Clarity sets the course, and direction raises the sails. This is why the inner state matters more than outer effort. 1,000 actions taken without clarity often yield little, while one word spoken with certainty and direction can open great doors. The world is filled with people working endlessly, yet struggling to see supply, because their inner command is scattered. Money waits for clarity, and until it comes, their labor is like rowing in circles. But the individual who pauses, aligns their thought, and speaks a precise command unleashes a force that accelerates every action. Then effort and supply move together in harmony, and money flows in the right direction. Patience is one of money's great qualities. It does not grow impatient when the individual hesitates, nor does it disappear in anger when called forth and dismissed again. It waits, silently and faithfully, until the moment clarity arises. Even if years pass, the instant the order is finally spoken with authority, money responds. It holds no grudges, it carries no resentment. Its nature is obedience, and it waits for the voice that knows its power. The moment that voice is heard, the waiting ends, and the servant moves with speed. Direction is as vital as clarity. To call money without giving it purpose is to leave it wandering. Money, like all energy, seeks order. When told where to go and what to do, it fulfills its task with precision. To say, "Money comes to me for the purpose of fulfilling every good work, every right desire, every true need," is to give it purpose. Without direction, money may appear and vanish just as quickly, for energy without order dissipates. With direction, it multiplies, circulates, and continues to serve. Those who complain of money slipping through their fingers often lack direction. They call it forth, but once it arrives, they have not told it where to go, what to build, or what to sustain. It flows out aimlessly, seeking a channel, and soon appears to be gone. But those who give money a purpose aligned with clarity see it remain, grow, and return. For money loves order, and when it is directed, it obeys in ways that astonish the mind. Clarity and direction are not born from anxiety, but from calm assurance. Anxiety creates confusion, scattering thought and weakening command. Clarity comes from stillness, from aligning with the inner knowing that supply is infinite. In that stillness, the right words arise, precise and filled with power. Direction emerges naturally, showing where the servant is to go. The individual who lives in this state finds that money no longer feels uncertain or unstable. It becomes a dependable presence, always waiting, always ready, always responsive. Money is patient because it is bound by eternal law. It knows no hurry, for it is infinite in essence. It cannot run out. It cannot vanish, it cannot exhaust itself. It simply waits for consciousness to align with it. This patience is not passivity, it is readiness. The moment clarity is achieved, its movement is swift, as though it had been preparing all along. The apparent delay was only the time needed for the individual to refine their direction. Once clarity is spoken, the waiting ends, and manifestation follows as naturally as dawn follows night. One of the greatest secrets is that money listens more closely to thought and belief than to action. A person may labor hard, yet if their thought is clouded with uncertainty, money waits. Another may labor less but speak with absolute clarity and direction, and money flows to them with ease. The outer world often misinterprets this as luck or advantage, but in truth it is law. The servant obeys the one who gives clear orders, not the one who shouts in confusion. Money is never far away. It surrounds every individual in unseen form, waiting for the command to take visible shape. It is in the air, in the flow of opportunity, in the substance of ideas, in the kindness of strangers, in the currents of commerce. Yet it waits silently, like water in a reservoir, until the gate is opened with clarity. The instant the gate is lifted, the flow begins. To say, money, you are directed to appear now in perfect ways to fulfill all that is required, is to open the gate wide. The water rushes forth, because it was waiting all along. The individual who understands this no longer fears lack, for they know money has not abandoned them. It is waiting, patiently and faithfully, for their clarity. Lack is but the shadow of unclear command. Supply is ever present, hidden behind the veil of indecision. The moment indecision lifts, the moment the word is spoken with precision, the shadow dissolves, and supply stands revealed. Money never delays. It only waits for direction. Prosperity flows through both expected and unexpected channels. Supply is never limited to one path, one person, one opportunity, or one means. The universe is a vast reservoir, and money is only one expression of its abundance. When one clings to a single source, believing prosperity can come only through that door, they close themselves off to the countless other doors that stand ready to open. But when one speaks the word with certainty and releases expectation of the how, the flow begins to move freely, appearing through channels both familiar and astonishing. Expected channels are those that seem natural and logical, the wages from a job, the profits from a business, the returns on an investment. These are recognized by the mind as ordinary routes of income. Yet even these channels are not fixed by chance but by law. They respond to the vibration of belief, expanding when the word of prosperity is spoken with faith, contracting when fear is entertained. The paycheck, the client, the sale, these are not masters but servants of the unseen law. They are visible streams flowing from the invisible ocean. To look at them as the source is error, for they are only outlets. The source is infinite, and the streams shift and multiply according to consciousness. Unexpected channels are those that bypass logic, arriving from directions unseen. They may come as gifts, as sudden opportunities, as inheritances, as chance encounters, as inspired ideas, as solutions that open new avenues of wealth. These are the surprises of abundance, the manifestations that prove the law is not confined to human reasoning. One may find money in places never considered, or be offered help from people barely known. A forgotten debt may be repaid, a lost sum rediscovered, a door long closed suddenly unlocked. These channels remind the individual that prosperity is not bound by limitation. The flow of prosperity moves like water, seeking every opening. If one channel closes, another opens, and another after that. To fear the closing of a single channel is to forget that the reservoir is inexhaustible. When a job ends, when a business slows, when an expected payment fails to arrive, it does not mean the flow has stopped. It means the law is redirecting, preparing new streams. The servant of supply is never idle, it constantly moves toward the one who commands with faith. To despair at the closing of a channel is to deny the greater openings being prepared. To trust is to remain calm, knowing the water of abundance cannot be dammed. Those who understand this law live without fear of loss. They know prosperity is not confined to one channel, and so they are open to the infinite ways it can appear. They do not cling anxiously to a paycheck or a single source of income, for they know it is but one of many streams. They release it with gratitude, confident that more is already flowing through other channels. Their openness creates magnetism, drawing unexpected supply with ease. The more they trust, the more doors open. The more they fear, the more doors close. Expected channels provide stability, but unexpected channels provide wonder. They demonstrate the richness of the law, the creativity of the unseen, the delight of surprise. They keep life from becoming mechanical, reminding the individual that the universe is filled with mystery and generosity. To limit prosperity to the expected is to live narrowly. To welcome the unexpected is to live expansively. The expected reassures the mind, the unexpected awakens the spirit. Both serve, both bless, both flow from the same source. Prosperity often chooses unexpected paths because the mind has built walls around the expected ones. The individual may believe that only a certain job, a certain client, or a certain market can provide supply. When that belief becomes too rigid, the law bypasses it, flowing through a new channel to break the limitation. The unexpected arrives to prove that abundance is greater than thought, wider than imagination, freer than calculation. It comes to stretch the vision, to show that no door is the only door. This is why it is dangerous to say, "I do not know how money could come." The how is not the individual's concern. The how belongs to the law. The individual's work is only to speak the word of command, to hold faith without wavering, and to remain open to receive. The law then determines the channels, selecting the swiftest, surest, and most perfect ways. Sometimes these ways align with expectation. Sometimes they surprise. But always they are right, always they are timely, always they fulfill the command. Prosperity flowing through unexpected channels often appears miraculous. But it is not miracle, it is law. The surprise lies only in the mind that expected a narrower path. The law itself is precise, constant, and impartial. It delivers according to command, regardless of appearances. If the mind believed there was only one way, the law reveals many. If the mind believed supply was scarce, the law reveals abundance. Each unexpected channel is a demonstration of the infinite resourcefulness of the unseen. The wise individual welcomes both the expected and the unexpected, holding no attachment to either. They see every channel as a temporary expression, useful for a time, but never the source itself. They give thanks for what arrives through known means, but they do not confine their expectation there. They remain open to the stranger, the coincidence, the surprise, the inspiration, the gift. Their openness invites more, and the law delights in filling it. Prosperity that flows through both expected and unexpected channels also teaches detachment. It shows that no employer, no client, no investment is the true provider. These are instruments only, instruments that may change but never exhaust the flow. Detachment frees the individual from fear, for they know they are not bound to one source. They are bound only to the law, and the law is bound only to their command. Thus they live in freedom, unshaken by change, serene in trust. The individual who begs or fears clings tightly to one channel, grasping it desperately as though it were life itself. This desperation repels the flow, for it signals mistrust in the infinite. The one who commands with certainty lets go, trusting the stream to widen and multiply. Their confidence creates movement, and money flows to them in ways both seen and unseen. They live in a state of surprise and gratitude, never knowing exactly how the supply will appear, but always knowing it will. The law of supply is precise, unerring, and always answers the command. It does not fail, it does not forget, it does not turn aside in negligence. It moves with exactness, responding to every thought, every word, every belief with mathematical certainty. The universe is not governed by chance or whim, it is governed by law. Just as the sun rises without fail, just as the seasons follow one another in perfect order, the law of supply operates with unwavering accuracy. When one understands this truth, fear dissolves, for fear is born of the belief that the law may falter. But the law cannot falter. It is steady, impartial, and constant, giving to each according to the decree of their consciousness. When one speaks in faith, the law answers with abundance. When one speaks in fear, the law answers with lack. The law does not discriminate between the two, it simply reflects the vibration of the command. This is why careless words are dangerous, for every word carries creative power. To say repeatedly, "I am always short of money," is to command shortage, and the law responds faithfully with shortage. To say, "Money flows to me freely and abundantly," is to command supply, and the law responds faithfully with supply. The law cannot say, "No." It has no choice but to fulfill the word spoken with conviction, for that is its nature. Precision is the very character of the law. A seed planted in the earth produces according to its kind without deviation. Wheat brings wheat, corn brings corn, roses bring roses. Never does wheat produce thorns, nor does corn produce stones. The law of supply is no less precise. If one plants words of lack, lack will appear. If one plants words of abundance, abundance will appear. The harvest is exact, never mistaken, never confused. The outer world is nothing but the precise reflection of inner command. This precision is both a warning and a blessing. It warns against idle words, careless complaints, fearful declarations. For the law takes every word as instruction, and even what is spoken lightly is recorded in vibration. It blesses the one who speaks with faith, for their words cannot return void. They must accomplish what they are sent forth to do. When certainty fills the word, the law hastens to bring it into visible form. This is why some speak only once and see their decree fulfilled, while others plead endlessly and see nothing. The difference is not in the law but in the precision of the command. The unerring nature of the law means that no effort is lost. Every word spoken, every belief held, every thought entertained plants its seed. If the harvest is delayed, it is not because the law has forgotten, but because the soil is waiting for clarity. The moment clarity is achieved, the moment the word is firm and unwavering, the seed takes root and growth begins. Nothing is wasted, nothing is overlooked. The law gathers every command and responds exactly in kind. To believe the law may ignore one's word is to misunderstand its impartiality. It is no respecter of persons. It does not favor the rich over the poor, the educated over the uneducated, the powerful over the powerless. It responds to all alike, measuring only the certainty of the command. The law cannot be bribed, persuaded, or tricked. It cannot be deceived by outer appearance, nor influenced by sentiment. It answers only to vibration, and vibration never lies. What is spoken with belief is answered. What is spoken with doubt is answered. What is spoken with fear is answered. The answer always matches the command. Those who complain that the law does not work for them fail to see that it has been working all along. Their very complaint is a command, and the law is fulfilling it. Their doubts, their fears, their endless declarations of lack are being mirrored with precision. The law has not failed, it has succeeded in obeying their unconscious commands. When they change the command, the law will change the result. The responsibility is always within, never without. The precision of the law gives security. For one need not wonder if the word will be heard. It is always heard, always answered. The only question is whether the word spoken is clear, certain, and aligned with faith. Once it is, the law's fulfillment is inevitable. No force on earth can stop it, for nothing is stronger than law. Circumstances may appear contrary, but appearances are temporary. They shift and dissolve under the steady hand of law, which continues its work until the command is manifest. The law is unerring, and this is why delay is not denial. Delay only means that conflicting commands have slowed the process. One may speak abundance in the morning and lack in the evening, prosperity one day and fear the next. The law is unerring, so it answers both commands, and the result is delay, confusion, or half manifestations. But when the command is consistent, unbroken by doubt, the law moves swiftly. Its unerring accuracy brings fulfillment without deviation. This constancy is why one must guard the mind as carefully as the lips. Silent thoughts are also commands, and the law does not distinguish between spoken words and inner declarations. The thought, "I cannot," carries as much weight as the spoken phrase. The inner image of lack is answered as surely as the spoken declaration of wealth. To master supply, one must master thought, word, and image, bringing them into alignment. Then the law responds without hesitation, for it has received a clear and consistent command. The law is exact, yet it is also infinite. It can fulfill in ways beyond human calculation, using channels unseen, methods unimagined, opportunities unplanned. But no matter how surprising the manifestation, it will always match the vibration of the command. If one speaks abundance with joy, the result will carry joy. If one speaks abundance with fear, the result may come through struggle. The law matches not only the form but the tone. It reflects not only the words but the spirit behind them. This is why joy, gratitude, and assurance accelerate manifestation, while worry and anxiety slow it. The law does not punish or reward, it mirrors. The unerring nature of the law also explains why words spoken in jest or habit still carry weight. To say lightly, "I am always broke," may feel harmless, but the law records it as a command. The seed is planted, and the harvest must follow. Many live in cycles of lack not because they consciously desire it, but because they unconsciously affirm it. Their casual speech becomes a decree, and the law, being faithful, fulfills it. To change the harvest, they must change the seed, speaking with clarity, precision, and faith. I have heard it said, "Your world rises or falls by your mouth." And I say to you now, there is only one poverty on this earth, and that is the poverty of the spoken word. You do not suffer lack because of a missing opportunity, a collapsed market, or an empty bank account. No, you suffer lack because you have trained your tongue to speak it. You have said, "I can't afford it," and the world said, "So be it." You have said, "Money is tight," and the universe tightened the stream. You have muttered, "Things never go my way," and the law said, "As thou hast spoken, so shall it be done unto thee." Let me ask you, what if the real enemy was not your job, your debt, or your economy, but the very words that pass through your lips each morning? What if the limit is not in your account, but in your vocabulary? I say this with fire. The most expensive thing you will ever do is complain. One sentence of doubt, one whisper of fear, one habitual sigh of "not enough" invites the entire realm of limitation to your doorstep. You see, every word you speak is a decree. Every phrase you utter builds form in the unseen. You are a spiritual architect. You are always commanding, always creating. But what are you creating? A palace of plenty or a prison of lack? Too many build daily with bricks of worry and mortar of fear, then cry at the outcome of their own spiritual design. I remember once a woman saying to me, "I've done every affirmation in the book, Florence, but my situation hasn't changed." I asked her plainly, "What do you say when no one's listening?" She paused. "Well, I guess I still say, 'I don't know how I'll make it.'" And I told her the truth. That sentence alone has canceled every affirmation you've ever spoken. You cannot affirm abundance for 10 minutes in the morning and then speak defeat all afternoon. The law is not mocked. The universe responds to rhythm, not rehearsal. So I give you this revelation at the start of our time together. Train your mouth, and you train your life. If you desire unlimited supply, you must become incapable of speaking anything less. If you seek abundance, you must outlaw every phrase of poverty from your lips. As it is written, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Your fruits have not failed you. Your tongue has. You may have inherited a family of worriers. You may have learned to vent, to fret, to joke about being broke. But you are not bound to that tongue. You can retrain it. You can cleanse it. You can awaken it to speak only supply, only surplus, only sufficiency, and more. You are not at the mercy of the world. You are at the mercy of your own mouth. And your words, yes, even the ones spoken in frustration, are writing the next chapter of your life. So the question is not, where will I get my provision? But, what am I speaking into the law today? Let every other voice be silenced now. Let doubt and debt bow before the throne of your command. For you are about to retrain the most powerful tool God gave you, your tongue, and align it with the river of unlimited supply. Speak rightly, and all things are added unto you. Let the mouth that cursed you now bless you. Let the tongue that bound you now set you free. And let the sentence you speak next be one that ends lack forever. The tongue is not flesh. The tongue is not bone. The tongue is law in motion. The tongue is a wand, a rudder, a spiritual key that unlocks or binds. Scripture declares, the tongue is a small member, yet it boasts of great things. With it we bless God, and with it we curse men. But I say to you, the greatest curse ever released is not against another, but against oneself, when a man curses his own supply with his mouth. It is written in the book of James that the tongue is like the helm of a great ship, tiny, but it turns the whole vessel. That vessel is your life, and your tongue is steering it right now. Where is it going? Toward overflow, or toward famine? Toward divine provision, or toward man-made struggle? Your tongue is not an accessory. It is not decoration. It is an instrument of causation. What you continually say becomes what you eventually see. What you speak becomes. You may fast, you may pray, you may tithe, you may hustle. But if your mouth is full of contradiction, your harvest will collapse under the weight of your own undoing. The universe was spoken into existence. Let there be light, and there was light. God did not negotiate it. He did not explain it. He did not qualify it. He spoke, and the law obeyed. So why then do you imagine that you, made in the image and likeness of God, can speak of debt, of disaster, of delay, and expect divine supply to arrive anyway? Every time you say, I can't afford that, you are worshiping limitation. Every time you say, I'm broke, you are prophesying bondage. And every time you say, it's hard to make money, you are enshrining that difficulty into law. The law of the tongue is no respecter of persons. It obeys whoever speaks. I have seen the most talented men remain poor because their mouths were lazy. I have seen humble women walk into wealth because their mouths were faithful. The question is not, do I deserve it? The question is, have I spoken it? You see, the spoken word is a spiritual seed. It never disappears. It enters the invisible and attaches itself to form. And like all seeds, it brings forth after its kind. The word struggle births struggle. The word overflow births overflow. The word never enough becomes an atmosphere. The word unlimited supply becomes a magnetic field. There is no neutral word. All speech is charged. It is either a decree of dominion or a declaration of defeat. And so I say to you again, your tongue is your instrument of wealth. Train it to play the music of abundance. Speak these now with me. My words are my wealth. My mouth is a magnet for divine supply. I no longer partner with poverty, not even in jest. I bless my life with every sentence. Do you feel the shift? The law responds to rhythm, not repetition. Speak like the one who holds the keys to the kingdom. Speak like the heir you already are. Speak like God is listening, because He is. And more than listening, He is multiplying what you say. So then, do not throw away your inheritance with one more careless phrase. Retrain the tongue. Guard it like gold, because it is your first treasury. And the moment your mouth aligns with heaven, earth must obey. The first war is never in the wallet. It is never in the paycheck. It is never in the price of gold, the collapse of a market, or the state of the nation. The first war is not in the facts. The first war is in the mouth. Every battle of supply begins with a sentence. Every financial shift begins with a whisper. And every collapse begins with a careless tongue. You do not wake up in lack. You speak your way there. Before money leaves your hands, it leaves your words. The adversary is subtle. He does not take your abundance by force. He tricks you into speaking it away. He waits for the moment you say, "I don't know how I'll pay for this." And then he agrees with you. He waits for the sigh, the sarcastic remark, the casual curse over your own life, and he writes it into reality. You must understand, the enemy of divine supply does not need your body. He needs your agreement. And the fastest way he gets it is through your mouth. Think of the phrases you have heard since childhood. Money doesn't grow on trees. We can't afford that. Don't get your hopes up. That's for rich people. These phrases were not just innocent sayings. They were installations. They were verbal spells that wrote themselves onto your subconscious. And without knowing it, you memorized them. You inherited them. You even repeated them. And in repeating them, you began to build a life of agreement with lack. But now, beloved soul, the time has come to make war with the lie. Not with emotion, not with effort, but with the spoken word of truth. Every time you open your mouth, you are either reinforcing the lie or collapsing it. And if you will not rebuke it with words, the lie will remain on the throne. The battlefield is not on your doorstep. It is on your tongue. The enemy comes to tempt you into defeat speech, and you must train your mouth to reject it like poison. You may feel it rise in you, fear, frustration, complaint, but you must not let it reach your lips. You must intercept it mid-thought and declare, "I am not available for lack. My mouth does not serve fear. I no longer speak against my own wealth." Because hear me now, what you do not refuse with your words, you silently invite. Some of you are fighting for your supply with effort, with stress, with sleepless nights, but you are still speaking defeat. And so the supply withholds itself, not out of cruelty, but out of law. You cannot speak against your desire and expect it to obey. Train your mouth to speak only what you want multiplied, and refuse to fight this battle in silence. Speak boldly, speak deliberately, speak with sacred discipline. Because once your mouth is trained, the battlefield dissolves. You no longer war for abundance. You speak it into place. Now prepare yourself. In the next section, we step into instruction in truth, how to actually speak only unlimited supply. You must now become the master of your tongue, the guardian of your gates, the overseer of your own spiritual speech. For it is not enough to silence doubt, you must replace it. It is not enough to stop speaking lack, you must speak supply. Truth must take up residence in your mouth, not as a Sunday ritual, not as a temporary affirmation, but as a permanent dialect of divine inheritance. Here is your instruction in truth. Never speak of money as though it is separate from God. Never speak of bills as though they are burdens. Never speak of supply as though it is scarce. Never speak of lack as though it is real. When someone says, "It's too expensive," you respond within yourself, "Nothing is too expensive for divine substance." When the voice of worry rises up, where will it come from? You answer, "It will come from wherever it is now, by divine law." When you look at your balance and feel the pinch, do not echo that fear, speak abundance in its place. Here is the great reversal. What you want but do not yet see must become what you speak. And what you fear but currently face must never cross your lips. Say with me now, every dollar I touch is divine substance in motion. There is no delay in divine supply. My wealth is not waiting. It is obeying my word. I speak increase and increase answers. You must become so practiced in speaking only supply that even under pressure, even in uncertainty, even in the shadow of debt, your tongue refuses to betray you. Your mouth must become unavailable to fear. You must speak of money with reverence, not resistance. You must bless the bills you pay and speak multiplication over every transaction. You must cease to vent about money with others who walk in doubt. Your mouth is not a garbage can for anxiety. It is an altar, a spiritual microphone broadcasting into the field of divine form. In your conversations, speak only overflow. In your self-talk, speak only provision. In your silent moments, whisper only truth. Do not rehearse your old situation. Replace it. Speak as one already rich, already favored, already sourced, not to pretend, but to align. Because the universe is not responding to your need. It is responding to your word. And your word must now speak only unlimited supply. Let us continue. You are now ready to begin the training of the tongue. In the next section, I will walk you step by step through the daily rhythm that reprograms your speech for abundance. You cannot tame the tongue by willpower. You cannot retrain it with silence. You must replace the rhythm of fear with the rhythm of law. Just as the pianist trains their fingers and the singer trains their voice, you must train your mouth, daily, deliberately, and with reverence. Here is how you begin. Step 1. Cleanse the mouth of poverty speech. You cannot build a temple with broken bricks. The first step is to cleanse the tongue of every phrase that dishonors divine supply. Write them down, the sentences you hear yourself speak when you're under stress. I'm broke. I can't afford that. Money goes out faster than it comes in. I don't know how I'll pay for this. It's always something. This is just how it is. These phrases are not facts, they are vows. Vows of bondage, wrapped in casual language. Renounce them now. Say aloud, I cancel every word I have spoken against my supply. I release every sentence of fear and replace it with truth. My tongue no longer cooperates with lack. Let the inner cleansing begin, not through silence, but through substitution. Step 2. Choose 3 supply sentences and speak them, morning, noon, and night. The subconscious is reprogrammed by rhythm, not effort. You must speak truth often, not just emotionally. Select 3 declarations that vibrate with truth and speak them with focus. I walk in divine supply. Every need is met before I speak it. Unexpected wealth flows to me with ease. Say these out loud 3 times each morning before you check a phone or think a thought. Say them again before lunch. Say them again at night, especially if fear tries to visit. You are creating a new oral economy, one where wealth is attracted by the voice of law, not the noise of worry. Step 3. Reject sympathy-based speech. There will come a moment at work, with family, in casual conversation, when someone will invite you back into old speech. They will say, we're all struggling right now. They'll joke, we're poor but happy. They'll sigh, this economy is killing us. And in that moment, you must not participate. You must bless their speech in silence and respond with law. You can say, I've learned to trust divine supply. Or simply speak no further. Do not align with poverty, even for approval. Your mouth is not a mood ring. It is a manifestation tool. Step 4. Speak to your wallet and bank account. Do not avoid them. Do not dread them. Speak to them. Open your wallet. Look at the bills, the cards, the compartments. Say aloud, you are always full. You overflow with divine money. Where you once held lack, you now hold law. Log into your bank account, even if the numbers disappoint you. and declare, "This is not final. This is temporary appearance." I speak increase over you now. Money multiplies in this account by divine decree. Money is not repelled by truth, it is magnetized by command. Step 5. End. Each day with supply speech. Just before sleep, when the veil is thinnest and your subconscious is listening without resistance, declare, "There is no end to God's supply. While I sleep, provision is preparing. I rise into new wealth because I speak new truth." Let these be the final vibrations your body hears. You will wake up aligned. You will move differently. You will speak with quiet authority, and money will know where to go, to the one who speaks like a spiritual heir. You are not weak. You are not behind. You have simply been untrained. And now you are being retrained. You are taking the mouth that once cursed your flow and turning it into a river of divine release. Continue. The training has begun. Poverty is not first an experience. It is a language, and for many it has become a native tongue. You learned it in your household. You practiced it in school. You reinforced it in conversation. And now, without even realizing, you've become fluent in verbal limitation. But I tell you boldly, the habit of verbal poverty must be broken, or wealth will fear your mouth. Wealth listens for invitation. It listens for praise. It listens for confident, law-anchored speech. But when it hears worry, sarcasm, complaint, or scarcity dressed up as a joke, it withdraws. Not out of punishment, but by divine law. What you mock, you block. What you rehearse, you remanifest. The most dangerous sentences are not the loudest. They are the subtle ones. "I'll never be rich, but that's okay. I'm just not good with money. That's above my pay grade. I always get stuck right before breakthrough." You may think you're being humble, you're being real, you're just being honest. But what you're actually doing is carving lack into the walls of your mind with your own mouth. And the law is always listening. To break this habit, you must first observe it. Watch what you say when you're not watching. Listen to yourself in casual speech. Take inventory of every phrase that bends toward lack, frustration, or limitation. Then, interrupt it. Immediately, audibly. If you catch yourself saying, "I can't afford that," replace it instantly with, "All that is mine by divine right is now released to me." If you start to say, "I never have enough," interrupt yourself with, "God is my instant and constant supply." Do not let these phrases finish themselves. Do not give them the breath of completion. Cut them off with truth. Slice them down with scripture. Replace the groove of poverty with the groove of power. You are not a victim of speech. You are a steward. And just as a gardener removes weeds before they spread, you must now remove every weed of worry, every root of resignation, every vine of verbal defeat. The habit may try to come back. You may feel it rise in your throat. But each time you intercept it, you gain strength. Each time you replace it, you widen the channel. Each time you refuse it, you honor the law of abundance. You are not here to describe life. You are here to create it. So speak not what you've seen. Speak what God has already declared. Say this now. I am breaking the habit of poverty speech. I speak only what I want multiplied. My words no longer echo fear, they release supply. And so it is. She came to me weary. Her shoulders held the weight of 2 years of effort without reward, a business that had promise, but no profit. She said, "Miss Shinn, I do all the things. I advertise, I hustle, I pray, I network. But the money trickles in like a faucet with rusted pipes. I don't understand." I listened not to her business plan, but to her words. In the span of 10 minutes, she said, "Business is slow right now. It's hard to stand out. I guess people just don't have money. Maybe I'm not cut out for this." And there it was. The leak wasn't in her strategy. It was in her speech. Her mouth had become a mirror of the outer world instead of a command to the unseen. I said to her, "You are not tired from work. You are tired from agreeing with appearances. You are not blocked by market forces. You are blocked by your own tongue. I gave her one decree. I do not serve the economy. I serve divine supply. And I instructed her, speak it before every call. Speak it before checking your bank balance. Speak it before writing a post, making an offer, setting a price. And most importantly, do not ever again say what is not happening. She obeyed. She rewired her tongue. She kept a written list of every sentence that slipped into fear, and she replaced it with one of truth. Within a week, she received an unexpected inquiry from a former client who not only hired her back, but referred her to 3 others. Within 2 weeks, she raised her prices, not with fear, but with faith. And by the end of the month, her income had doubled. Not because she worked harder, not because she changed her logo or rewrote her funnel, but because she trained her mouth to bless her business instead of bind it. Hear me now. It is not your job to figure out how the supply comes. It is your job to speak as one who knows it is already here. That woman did not manifest success. She stopped speaking failure. She ceased to curse her own vine, and suddenly, the fruit appeared. There is no hustle more powerful than a sanctified tongue. There is no marketing plan greater than a mouth aligned with God. Say this with me now. I speak life to my business. I call in overflow by my decree. My words are the first transaction of wealth. I do not hustle. I harmonize with supply. Now watch what happens when your tongue becomes your first investor. There are 3 phrases I call forbidden, not because they offend people, but because they violate law. They do not align with truth. They do not honor divine supply. They speak defeat into form. And if you wish to walk in abundance, you must never let them pass your lips again. Forbidden phrase number 1. I can't afford it. This phrase is not a budget, it's a curse. It shuts the door to divine channels. It tells your subconscious, we live in a world of limits, and it commands the universe to match that frequency. Instead, if something is not for you at the moment, say, if it is mine by divine right, it will come to me with ease. This affirms truth without denying appearance. It leaves the gate open for provision to arrive through unexpected channels. Remember, you don't serve the number in your account. You serve infinite supply. Forbidden phrase number 2. That's too expensive. When you say this, you are not judging the item. You are judging yourself. You are announcing to heaven, I do not believe I'm worthy of increase. You are affirming lack consciousness every time you put a price tag above your identity. Replace it with, divine substance meets all desires. If this is for me, it is already paid for in full. This removes the limitation and aligns you with receptivity. The kingdom is not cheap, but it is rich in supply. There is no virtue in staying small to survive the price. Forbidden phrase number 3. Money is tight. This one slips out of so many mouths during stress, bills, or business lulls, but it is one of the most spiritually dangerous phrases you can speak. Why? Because it implies that money is the source and God is not. It projects restriction, which creates resistance. Instead, say, money flows freely and multiplies wherever I speak blessing. You are not here to measure your provision. You are here to declare it, to speak it, to align with it. Speak as one who knows the faucet of God cannot run dry. These 3 phrases are not harmless. They are agreements, spoken covenants with lack. And every time you say them, you reset your vibration to deficiency. You must now decide, will you speak from fear or from faith? Will you repeat the language of the world or the law of the Spirit? Let this be your new decree. I no longer serve these phrases. My mouth is reserved for supply. My speech multiplies what I want, not what I fear. Now walk forward with a sanctified tongue and refuse to rent your voice to the enemy of increase. You cannot speak abundance from a mouth that has not first beheld it in the mirror. The mirror is not just a surface of glass. It is the gate of agreement. It is where you must come face to face with the creator of your financial reality. Not your job, not your bank, not your past. you. The mirror reveals what the mouth has accepted, and the mouth reveals what the mirror still believes. If you cannot look yourself in the eyes and declare, "I am the vessel of unlimited supply," then every other affirmation will be hollow. I tell you now with authority, you must look yourself in the face and align your identity with your declarations. Not once, not weekly, but daily. Here is your instruction. Stand before the mirror. Let no fear linger behind your eyes. Let no shame hover in your posture. Let no doubt whisper from the corners of your mouth. Look boldly and say, "You are not a beggar. You are a builder of worlds." You are not waiting on provision. You are walking in it. Your reflection is not debt. It is dominion. Your face is the face God finances. Supply flows to you because you have finally agreed. Say it until your face changes. Say it until your voice deepens. Say it until the old image shatters and the truth of who you are emerges. This is not vanity. This is vibration. You will not attract what you do not believe belongs in your reflection. Speak to the mirror like it is the mouth of God. Because when you do, your body begins to believe. Your subconscious reprograms. Your vibration realigns. Your gate opens. The mirror is not a passive surface. It is a spiritual witness. And it is waiting for you to say, "I no longer speak from fear, I speak from truth." My supply is not somewhere out there. My supply is spoken, aligned, and activated. Say it again, this time, like you mean it, like your reflection is listening. Because it is. You do not wait for wealth. You declare it. You do not ask for increase. You agree with it. The tongue is the gate, and the declaration is the key. If you want to see what has never appeared before, you must speak what you've never dared to say. Let these words pass not only through your lips, but through your cells, your organs, your finances, your future. Speak each line slowly, with rhythm, with reverence, with full authority. I walk in unlimited supply, for I speak from unlimited source. Divine substance is the only economy I serve, and it knows no restriction. I cast the burden of financial struggle on the Christ within, and I go free to receive all that is mine. I speak wealth, and wealth responds. Every time I open my mouth, heaven opens a channel. Money is not my master. It is my messenger. I call it in by decree. My voice is a spiritual magnet for provision, profit, and prosperity. My words are no longer casual. They are causal. I have trained my mouth to multiply, not measure. The more I bless my supply, the more it reveals itself to me. Now pause. Breathe. Let the vibration settle. These are not affirmations for the sake of repetition. These are spoken contracts with the invisible realm. Every line you speak carves a new pathway in the subconscious. Every decree you make reorganizes the atmosphere around you. Speak them in the morning. Speak them while walking. Speak them while handling money. Speak them in the mirror. Speak them when fear rises. Speak them even when your eyes see lack, especially then. The tongue of a trained spiritual being does not reflect conditions. It commands them. You are not describing your life anymore. You are designing it. So speak boldly, speak rhythmically, speak daily. For it is written, "Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee." Job 22:28. Your word is your wand, and every sentence is shaping the form of your fortune. There is a sacred law that governs all mental transformation, the law of substitution. You cannot hold two opposing thoughts in the same space at the same time. One must give way. The stronger vibration takes dominion. So when a thought of lack appears, when your mind says, "I can't, I won't," there isn't enough, you do not argue with it. You do not analyze it. You replace it. You substitute the false with the true. This is not denial. This is dominion. You do not pretend lack isn't knocking. You just don't invite it in. Instead, you open the door to truth, and truth always displaces the lie. Let me give you examples. When the thought arises, there's not enough money for rent. You speak, my supply is infinite, and my rent is already paid by divine channels now in motion. When the fear whispers, what if this client doesn't pay? You substitute, God is the source of my income, not man. All owed to me is paid in full through divine law. When the anxiety trembles, I'll never get ahead. You speak the truth. I walk in divine timing, and nothing is withheld from me. My progress is guaranteed by spiritual law. You see, you must be quicker than fear. You must be more rehearsed in truth than in panic. When a lack thought appears, do not sit with it. Substitute immediately. Why? Because every thought left unchecked becomes a word, and every word becomes a world. You must train your mind not just to react, but to replace. That is the law. That is the victory. So declare this now. I do not dwell in thoughts of lack. I substitute fear with faith. I substitute panic with power. My mind obeys my word, and my word obeys the law. Only truth is spoken. Only truth is housed. Only truth remains. You are not at the mercy of thoughts. You are the ruler of the inner court. And what you allow to remain is what you have chosen to reign. You do not drift into spiritual mastery. You decree your way into it. And if your mouth has for years been trained by fear, lack, frustration, sarcasm, or worldly defeat, then it must now be retrained by spirit. For the next 7 days, I give you this command. Speak as one who walks with God, or do not speak at all. Every day you will select 3 declarations. You will say them in the mirror. You will say them before you touch money. You will say them when fear tries to enter. You will say them before sleep. And you will speak them until your cells believe. Here is your 7-day spoken supply challenge. Day 1. My words are gates of wealth. I no longer prophesy poverty. Everything I speak multiplies. Day 2. I now receive unexpected supply from unseen channels. There is no limit in divine mind, and I think in divine rhythm. My tongue is trained in truth. Day 3. Lack no longer recognizes me. I dissolve the lie of not enough. God finances my ideas, my needs, and my joy. Day 4. My voice magnetizes miracles. I speak, and provision obeys. All that I desire now comes clothed in divine timing. Day 5. I cast the burden of worry on the Christ within. My supply is secure, immediate, and constant. I speak increase, and increase arrives. Day 6. Every time I open my mouth, heaven moves. I no longer curse my life with casual words. My daily speech is a wealth frequency. Day 7. My language is divine. My declarations build my world. I am the voice of abundance made flesh. Say them when you rise. Say them before each transaction. Say them when the world tries to speak doubt into your ear. Your mouth is no longer rented by fear. It is owned by truth. 7 days. That is your command. Not perfection, practice, not performance, power. At the end of 7 days, your outer world may still look the same, but your spiritual authority will have shifted, and what you've planted by word must return to you by law. Say this now. I accept the 7-day word challenge. My mouth is under divine authority. I will speak as the rich speak, and I will walk as the rich walk. It is done. It is sealed. It is law. Jesus Christ never begged. He never bartered, he never lacked, and he never waited to speak until conditions were perfect. He spoke to command perfection into place. The Christ did not describe appearances, he declared dominion. At the wedding in Cana, when the wine ran out, he didn't say, "There's not enough." He didn't ask how much was left. He didn't analyze the economics. He simply gave a spiritual instruction, "Fill the jars with water." And then he spoke, "Draw some out now." And it became wine. He spoke, and it became. In the wilderness with the multitudes, when the disciples cried, "We have only 5 loaves and 2 fish," Jesus did not repeat that lack. He did not speak agreement with what the eyes saw. He looked up, he blessed, he broke, and he distributed. And what happened? Multiplication. And in that multiplication, no one went without. There were even baskets left over. That is divine law in motion, through spoken faith. Even when facing the tomb of Lazarus, when the stench of death and the sorrow of mourners filled the air, Jesus did not say, "It is too late." He lifted his voice. He said, "Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me." And then he called into the darkness, "Lazarus, come forth," and the dead obeyed. You see, Christ always spoke from supply, never from shortage. And he said, "Greater works shall ye do." But you cannot do his works while speaking man's words. You cannot perform miracles while repeating murmurs. You cannot multiply while speaking mediocrity. The Jesus model is not passive, it is proclamatory. It moves the unseen with sound. It commands order out of chaos. It calls what is not as though it is until it is. Say this now with holy fire. I speak from Christ mind, not carnal mind. I speak as he spoke, with certainty, not with strain. My words do not return void. They return multiplied. As Christ multiplied loaves, so I multiply provision with my voice. You are not trying to imitate a religious figure. You are awakening the Christ within, and that Christ always speaks from abundance. He was a man like many others, disciplined, responsible, worn thin by labor, and swallowed by the belief that toil was the price for survival. He earned just enough to stay afloat, but never enough to rise. And when I met him, he said, "Miss Shinn, I can't afford to leave this job, but I feel dead staying in it." His mouth was filled with respectable defeat. He spoke facts, but never truth. He described his income, his expenses, his boss, the market. But nowhere in his speech was there faith. Nowhere in his language did the law of supply have a place to land. I gave him a single instruction. For the next 21 days, say nothing about money unless it aligns with divine supply. He was to stop confessing lack. He was to stop repeating the narrative of exhaustion. He was to train his mouth to speak wealth, even when his paycheck whispered otherwise. He chose this declaration: God is my instant and constant supply. I speak wealth and walk in provision. At first, it felt like lying. His lips stuttered. His mind resisted. But he kept going. He spoke it brushing his teeth. He spoke it before opening his banking app. He spoke it when coworkers complained. He spoke it when he received bills. He spoke it when nothing seemed to change. But the change had already begun. His vibration shifted. His expectation lifted. And soon, clients outside his job began asking for help. Side projects turned into contracts. The same mouth that once echoed fear now magnetized favor. One morning, he stood in his room, looked in the mirror, and said, "I do not work for a paycheck. I work for divine purpose, and I am paid in overflow." That week, he resigned, with no panic, no regret. He walked into his new work as an independent consultant, fully supported by spiritual law. And when asked how he had the courage to leave, he simply said, "My mouth made the decision before my body did." Beloved, you don't walk out of bondage. You speak out. You don't beg for better conditions. You create them with your word. Your job is not your source. Your habits are not your sentence. Your mouth has already chosen your future. All that's left is for you to say it and follow. Say it now. God is my instant and constant supply. I no longer serve the clock, I serve the kingdom. My words prepare the way for my wealth. What I speak today, I shall walk in tomorrow. There comes a time in every spiritual walk where declaration becomes not just a tool, but a temple, when your daily words evolve into prophecy. And prophecy, dear soul, is not prediction. It is the spoken shaping of spiritual fact into visible form. This is the advanced path. This is the financial prophecy ritual, and I give it to you now, not as a curiosity, but as a command to those who are ready to stop circling lack and start installing heaven's economy into earth's hour. Each morning for the next 7 days, before speaking to another human voice, you will prophesy aloud your financial truth. Not your goals, not your budget, not your business forecast, your divine inheritance. Stand alone, face the mirror or your open palms. Speak with rhythm and authority. Speak with honor and fire. I now prophesy divine supply into my day. Money moves toward me freely and multiplies in my hands. I do not serve time, I command it. I am paid in full by unseen sources working now on my behalf. Every conversation today carries currency. Every action today plants profit. Every hour today overflows with favor. I walk through this day spiritually funded. When done consistently, this ritual bypasses logic and installs identity. You are not hoping to be rich. You are prophesying the wealth of spirit into the substance of matter. And the word will not return void. Do not whisper. Do not wonder. Do not wait for permission. You are a prophet of your provision. You are the mouth of your multiplication. You are the one who decrees, and it is done. Now say this with me, as the old identity dissolves. My voice is sacred. My prophecy is power. My day bends to the word I speak. My supply is permanent, plentiful, and present now. Even a trained mouth will tremble in the storm. Even a seasoned spirit will, at times, speak from fear instead of faith. So what do you do when it happens? When a phrase of lack slips past your lips? When you catch yourself saying, I can't afford that, or that's too much, or I'm always broke? You do not shame yourself, you cleanse. Spiritual mastery does not mean you never falter. It means you recognize, reverse, and realign, faster than ever before. That is your detox. The moment you catch yourself saying words of scarcity, you pause, bless the moment, and speak this. I cancel that word. It carries no power here. I call back my authority. I speak again, this time from truth. My supply is unlimited. My wealth is divine. My provision is now. You don't dwell in regret. You don't spiral into guilt. You simply reclaim your dominion. Every time you correct your tongue, you purify the temple of speech. You fortify your alignment with divine mind. Do not fear the slips. They are signs of the old system breaking down. Each correction is a clearing. Each reset is a resurrection. Let your spiritual self speak louder than your emotional reflex. Remember, your words are not just reflections. They are directives. And even one strong declaration of truth can dissolve 10 years of habitual fear. So say this with me now. I forgive the slip. I reinforce the truth. I bless my voice. I do not punish it. My wealth is not denied because of a moment. It is secured by eternal law. I return to truth instantly, joyfully, and boldly. You are not fragile. You are being reforged. You are not broken. You are being rewired. Slip if you must, but never stop speaking. Because the wealth you seek is not offended by your learning curve. It is magnetized by your return. There is a spiritual portal that opens not in the bank, not in the stock market, not in the job offer, but in the hour when the world sleeps and the soul stands alone. Midnight is not just a time on the clock. It is a metaphysical window, a sacred threshold where the noise of the world dies down and the voice of God is clearest. And it is in this stillness, beloved, that you are called to activate supply, not by calculation, not by effort, but by the spoken word. This is the midnight supply activation. Stand up at 12 a.m., not out of anxiety, but out of agreement. Walk to your mirror or sit upright in your bed. Do not turn on every light. Keep the atmosphere still and sacred. You are not here to perform. You are here to proclaim. Say aloud, slowly, with full authority, though it is midnight, I dwell in light. Though the world slumbers, my good awakens. I declare now, divine supply is active in every direction. Unseen channels move, unexpected income flows, delayed provision is released. Money is not my master, God is my source. I go to sleep in the rhythm of wealth, and I rise in the power of provision. Then pause, breathe, feel. Let the words echo in your body. Let the vibration move through your spine. Let heaven respond. Midnight is the womb of the new day, and what is spoken in the womb is born by morning. This is not superstition. This is spiritual law. When you speak at midnight, you are declaring from the place of nothingness, the perfect place for the law of increase to work. Just as God said, "Let there be light" over the void, you now say, "Let there be supply. Let there be overflow. Let there be ease." And it is so. So try it tonight, just once, then again the next. Do not wait for the morning to set the tone of your wealth. Command it in the night. Money that is feared, hoarded, or cursed shrinks. But money that is blessed, released, and spoken over with faith circulates and returns multiplied. Every dollar in your hand is not just a medium of exchange, it is a messenger. It carries the vibration of what you say when you give it, when you send it, when you spend it. Do not say, "This is so expensive." Do not say, "There it goes again." Do not say, "I hope I have enough left." Instead, speak as a steward of divine circulation. Speak as one who governs a never-ending flow from source to form. When you pay a bill, say, "I give thanks for this service, and I bless the money as it moves. This money returns to me multiplied, pressed down, shaken together, running over." I do not lose, I release. I do not fear, I flow. When you buy a meal, say, "This food nourishes me, and this payment blesses every hand that brought it to me. I am wealthy enough to feed my body, and rich enough to bless others in the process." This money is not gone, it is sent. Even when you invest, tithe, or gift, say, "I do not give to get. I give because I live in overflow. I plant in fertile soil, and I reap in divine timing." Money in motion is money in multiplication. Your words over money are more powerful than your spreadsheet, more potent than your wallet. For what is spoken with spiritual authority bends the very laws of return. So bless the outflow, consecrate the circulation, and trust the law to bring it back. Say this now: "Every dollar I spend is a divine seed. I never fear its departure, I rejoice in its return. I give with love, I receive with ease, I speak with wealth. The law of circulation is holy, and I am its joyful master. Your wealth does not disappear, it moves on command. Speak it, bless it, and it will come back, singing your name. You have trained your hands to work. You have trained your body to rise early, to push forward, to endure. But if your mouth has not been trained in wealth, then the struggle continues, disguised in productivity, because the wealth does not start in your job. The overflow does not begin in the marketplace. It begins in your mouth. The mouth is the gate of reality. The mouth is the organ of creation. The mouth is the multiplier. Your tongue is either a tool of multiplication or a servant of mediocrity. Your sentences either sow scarcity or sing abundance. And every time you open your mouth, you are either aligning with heaven or echoing fear. Now hear me, beloved. You do not need another strategy. You need a sentence. You do not need more time. You need to train your mouth to speak time's master, divine supply. The one who multiplies is not the one who hustles harder. It is the one who speaks the spiritual language of wealth. It is the one who opens the mouth with no tremble and says, "My supply is unlimited. My wealth is divine. My source is spiritual. My voice is law." Your job from this day forward is not to ask for money. It is not to chase more hours. It is to govern your words. Because the one who governs their mouth governs their money, and the one who governs their money governs their world. Say this now with me: I am the mouth of multiplication. I speak only from overflow. I deny all phrases of fear. I bless my mouth, I bless my flow, I bless my increase. And I now live in wealth because I have spoken it into being. Let your words be law. Let your mouth become the throne of your dominion, and let your life multiply accordingly. Let us now seal this work in rhythm and fire. Speak with me, boldly, clearly, and without pause. Each line is a law. Each word is a spiritual decree. Say them aloud and let every syllable reorder your atmosphere. I speak and supply responds. My mouth is aligned with divine multiplication. I do not echo fear, I enforce wealth. Every word I speak is a seed of abundance. I no longer beg, I declare. My language shapes my fortune. God and I speak increase with one voice. Say them again if you must. Write them, sing them, walk with them. For these are not just affirmations, they are activation codes in the language of the Spirit. Every time you say them, you silence the voice of lack. Every time you speak them, you reopen the gates of divine circulation. And every time you declare them, you remind the universe that you are not waiting. You are governing. This is your spoken dominion. This is your wealth in word form. And it is done. Beloved soul, if these words found your mouth, it is because your spirit is ready to remember its power. You were never meant to echo lack. You were never meant to rehearse defeat. You were meant to speak the words that create worlds. And now you shall. If you receive this truth, if even one line rang like a bell in your chest, speak it back to me. Leave your comment below as your covenant. Let the heavens and the algorithm both hear it. Write this. I train my mouth to speak only unlimited supply. Declare it as a record, as a ritual, as a reminder to the self who sometimes forgets. And if your spirit knows this work must continue, then subscribe not just to this channel, but to the practice. Come back tomorrow, and the day after that. Return not to the screen, but to your own mirror, your own mouth, your own ministry of speech. Let this be your sacred rhythm. Wake, speak, multiply. Speak as one who has already received. Walk as one who has already been paid. And live as one whose wealth is not delayed, but declared. The law is active. The word is working. Your mouth has been made new. I'll meet you in the next declaration. There is a law, immutable and unchanging, that governs both the seen and the unseen. This law is abundance, and it flows ceaselessly through the universe, awaiting only your recognition to manifest in your life. The words you speak are seeds. They fall into the fertile soil of the subconscious, and in due season they spring forth as experiences, opportunities, and supply. To change your world, you need only change your words. To change your lack, you need only reprogram the thought of lack into the conviction of supply. You are not a creature of chance, wandering in a wilderness of scarcity. You are a creator, endowed with the divine right to call forth wealth, provision, and prosperity by aligning your speech with the eternal principle of plenty. Every hour that passes is a door, and what you say in that hour sets the tone for what enters through it. Just 7 words, spoken with conviction, can dissolve fear, cancel limitation, and magnetize money, success, and increase into your experience. Consider the river. It flows, not struggling, not hoarding, not fearing its end. It simply moves, carrying freshness and life wherever it passes. Money is but another form of this river. It is energy, fluid and free, meant to circulate, meant to replenish. When you clutch in fear, you dam the stream and create stagnation. When you affirm abundance, you open the channels wide and the current rushes in. The 7 words you choose to repeat each hour become the key that unbolts the floodgates of prosperity. Speak them in faith. Speak them without wavering. Each time the words leave your lips, you are impressing the mind with a new pattern, rewriting the script of your finances, removing the weeds of doubt and planting the harvest of increase. Lack is not reality. It is a shadow created by false belief. The truth is supply, and supply is infinite. By repeating the sacred formula, the 7 words, you erase the shadow and allow the light of wealth to shine through. The universe responds not to worry, nor to fear, but to unwavering affirmation. Your spoken word, when released with trust, sets into motion forces beyond your sight. The right people appear. The right ideas flash. The right doors swing open. What seemed impossible yesterday becomes natural today. A shift takes place, not only in the outer circumstances, but first within the temple of your own mind. It is not toil that makes one rich, nor striving, nor endless labor. It is alignment with the principle of plenty. Work becomes effortless when backed by this principle, and money comes without strain when the mind is saturated with its truth. By saying these 7 words, hour by hour, you synchronize with the rhythm of abundance itself. You remind yourself of your divine right to prosper. You refuse the lie of limitation and embrace the reality of endless supply. Words are seeds of abundance, and every word spoken carries the creative power of life or death, growth or decay, increase or diminishment. When you speak, you are not merely moving air, you are setting into motion unseen forces that align themselves with your declaration. The soil of the subconscious never argues, it never rejects, it simply receives and produces after its kind. To plant words of lack, fear, and limitation is to guarantee a harvest of the same. To plant words of faith, wealth, and sufficiency is to bring forth prosperity in due season. A careless phrase may seem harmless, yet it has already been sown, already working its way into the fertile ground of your inner world. And soon it appears as an experience that mirrors the seed. When you say, "I never have enough," the universe agrees and confirms it. When you declare, "Money flows freely to me," the universe also agrees and sets channels into motion. Words are never idle. They are active messengers that travel out and return with evidence. To grasp this truth is to hold the key to transformation. The man or woman who disciplines the tongue has found the doorway to abundance. Every phrase should be weighed as though it were currency. For it is more powerful than currency, it is the mold from which currency is drawn. The one who speaks increase will see increase. The one who speaks failure will see failure. Consider the gardener who tends the earth. He knows the seed is small, yet within it lies the tree, the fruit, the entire orchard. He plants with expectation, not with doubt. He waters, he nurtures, and he anticipates the season of harvest. So it is with words. To declare abundance is to place the seed in the soil of your being. At first it may seem invisible. Yet beneath the surface roots are forming, a structure is building, and in time the manifestation will break forth. The wise soul understands that there is no wasted seed, only neglected or misused seed. Every word has its effect. To reprogram the mind for prosperity, one must first watch the tongue. The tongue is a creative instrument, delicate and precise, shaping circumstances with astonishing accuracy. By repeating words of abundance consistently, you saturate the subconscious until it no longer entertains doubt. Doubt may knock, but the mind replies with the affirmation it has been taught. The spoken word creates a rhythm, and rhythm creates momentum. And momentum carries one into the state of certainty, where manifestation cannot be denied. Abundance is not outside of you, waiting in the distance. It is within, awaiting expression. Words are the bridge that release the inner wealth into the outer world. To say, "I live in abundance," is not wishful thinking but the recognition of a spiritual law that cannot fail. To repeat it often is to reinforce it, to engrave it upon the fabric of consciousness until it is unshakable. Soon, opportunities, money, resources, and connections begin to appear, as if drawn magnetically, but in truth they are only the reflection of the words you have been planting all along. Lack is only a false belief, a shadow cast upon the mind by fear, habit, and illusion. In truth, the universe holds no lack, for creation itself is abundant, overflowing, inexhaustible. The air does not cease because one breathes deeply, the ocean does not diminish because one draws water, and the sun does not fade because it shines upon countless lands. Scarcity exists only in perception, and perception is shaped by the thoughts entertained and the words repeated. When the mind accepts limitation as reality, it begins to fashion circumstances that reflect it. Poverty becomes a habit of thought before it ever becomes a condition of life. To dissolve lack, one must first recognize it as an error of belief, and replace it with the knowledge of supply, that surrounds and sustains all things. The individual who clings to the idea of not enough will always see proof of it, for the mind is a masterful projector of images. It paints upon the screen of life the very convictions it carries within. To believe in lack is to draw to oneself experiences of shortage, delays, missed opportunities, and closed doors. Yet these conditions are not punishment, they are simply the outpicturing of belief. The moment belief shifts, the pictures shift, and the seeming chains of scarcity fall away. The outer world is a mirror, and the reflection cannot change until the inner thought changes first. Children demonstrate this truth without knowing, for they live in the certainty that their needs are met. They do not awaken in dread that the sun may not rise, nor do they worry that the river will cease to flow. They live in trust, and in that trust is the freedom of abundance. As they grow and absorb the fears of others, they may begin to adopt the notion of limitation. Yet the original truth remains untouched. Waiting to be reclaimed lack was never real, only borrowed belief, only a story told often enough to seem true. When one dares to question lack, to declare boldly that supply is infinite and that there is always enough, the illusion begins to crack. A new awareness arises, one that sees opportunities where none were seen before, one that recognizes channels of income, support, and provision opening effortlessly. To affirm abundance in the face of apparent scarcity is to break the spell of false belief. Each affirmation chisels away at the stone of doubt until the treasure beneath is revealed. Every moment offers a choice: to continue repeating the error of lack or to replace it with the certainty of supply. The more the mind rehearses the truth, the less power the illusion holds. Slowly the idea of scarcity loses its grip, and the reality of abundance shines through as natural, unquestioned, and inevitable. The individual begins to walk differently, speak differently, expect differently, and life mirrors the transformation faithfully, for it cannot resist the clarity of a belief aligned with truth. Money flows like a river, not a dam, for its nature is movement, circulation, and renewal. A river does not question where its waters come from nor where they go. It simply moves, fed by unseen springs, rains, and tributaries, always replenished and always alive. When money is allowed to move in the same manner, it multiplies, it refreshes, it creates growth wherever it passes. When it is hoarded in fear, clutched tightly as though it might vanish forever, it loses its vitality, becoming stagnant like water trapped behind a barrier, breeding anxiety instead of peace. The principle of circulation governs all forms of supply, and to align with this principle is to step into the natural rhythm of wealth. Those who understand this law do not resist the flow, but trust it. They release money with confidence, knowing it returns multiplied. Just as a river that flows out to the sea is lifted again as rain and pours once more upon the earth. Giving and receiving are not separate acts, but two sides of the same current. To withhold from fear is to cut oneself off from the cycle, while to release with faith is to open every channel for increase. The river does not shrink because it pours itself into the ocean, and one does not become poor by releasing money into the right channels. Instead, the act of release declares trust, and trust magnetizes supply in new and unexpected ways. Look at nature and see how this law operates without fail. Trees release their leaves and are clothed again. Flowers release their fragrance and are sustained by the bees they attract. The ocean releases waves upon the shore and remains full. The rhythm of giving and receiving pulses through all of creation, and money obeys the same rhythm. Those who cling in fear are resisting the law, and resistance always produces strain. Those who open the hand freely are in harmony with the law, and harmony always produces peace and provision. When one speaks of money flowing like a river, it is not mere poetry, but a description of a spiritual truth. The mind that imagines money as a rushing stream, endless and ever-renewing, will experience the freedom of circulation. Opportunities will present themselves, channels of income will widen, and resources will arrive at the perfect time. The subconscious accepts images readily, and the picture of flowing water imprints upon it the certainty of constant replenishment. To meditate on this image, to speak it aloud, to affirm that money moves like a river in one's life, is to reprogram the inner belief from scarcity to abundance. Fear of loss is the dam that interrupts the current. The moment fear is dissolved, the waters rush again, carrying with them not only supply but joy, freedom, and security. Money was never meant to sit idle, just as a river was never meant to be locked away. It is designed to move, to serve, to create, and to return, always in greater measure than before. The individual who aligns with this truth will never again fear release. For they know release is not loss, but the invitation for greater inflow. The assurance that the river of money is endless, and that their life can be carried upon its current with ease and plenty. Affirmation reprograms the subconscious for supply, for every spoken word is an imprint upon the deeper mind that governs thought, expectation, and experience. The conscious mind may doubt, it may waver, it may argue. But the subconscious receives, without question whatever is impressed upon it with repetition and emotion. It is like a fertile field that accepts every seed, whether of lack or abundance, fear or faith, poverty or prosperity. The farmer who plants thorny weeds cannot expect roses, and the individual who fills the subconscious with words of shortage cannot expect wealth. Yet the moment affirmations of abundance are spoken consistently, the field begins to change, the harvest begins to shift, and new conditions of prosperity emerge. The subconscious does not reason whether a thing is possible or impossible. It simply acts on the pattern it has been given. If one has been taught since childhood to believe in limitation, the subconscious has stored that pattern and continues to reproduce it. But the beauty of the law is that patterns can be rewritten. Just as a river may be redirected with new channels, so too can the subconscious be redirected with new affirmations. By saying words of supply, sufficiency, and increase with conviction, the old pattern of lack is gradually erased and replaced with the truth of abundance. The subconscious begins to expect wealth, and what it expects it draws into experience. Repetition is the key, for a single statement may pass unnoticed. But a statement spoken hourly, daily, faithfully, begins to carve deep grooves in the mind. Those grooves become the pathways through which life flows. Affirmations become like guiding rails, keeping thoughts steady and focused, preventing it from wandering into doubt. The more one affirms supply, the more natural it becomes to think in terms of wealth, the more normal it feels to expect provision, and soon the subconscious accepts it as the only reality. What was once effort becomes effortless, and what was once a struggle becomes second nature. Emotion gives power to affirmation. To speak words mechanically is to sow seeds without water, but to speak them with feeling is to nourish them with life. Each word of prosperity spoken with gratitude, joy, and certainty carries a vibration that penetrates deeply into the subconscious. The deeper it penetrates, the faster the harvest. Affirmations spoken with conviction rewire the inner dialogue, and the inner dialogue sets the stage for outward results. Circumstances, people, and opportunities align themselves to reflect the inner expectation, for life has no choice but to mirror the belief held most firmly within. Every thought is an affirmation, whether intentional or not. To say, "I cannot afford this," is an affirmation of lack. To say, "My supply is endless," is an affirmation of abundance. The subconscious accepts both equally. Therefore, one must become the guardian of speech and thought. Deliberate affirmation is the practice of choosing seeds carefully, planting only what one desires to harvest. In time, the subconscious, now saturated with the truth of supply, produces outward experiences that match the inner certainty. Prosperity ceases to be a distant hope and becomes a natural condition, the inevitable outpicturing of a mind reprogrammed for wealth. Prosperity comes through alignment, not toil. For wealth is not the product of endless struggle, but the result of harmonizing with universal law. The world has taught many to believe that success must be wrung out of sweat and exhaustion, that money can only be earned through ceaseless labor, that rest is a luxury reserved for the few. Yet this belief is born of fear and distrust, not of truth. Prosperity is a state of consciousness, And when the mind is attuned to abundance, opportunities, ideas, and resources flow naturally without the strain of force. Toil without alignment produces fatigue and little gain, while alignment without struggle produces results that seem effortless and often miraculous. The individual who strives without inner harmony works against the current, like a swimmer fighting upstream. Progress may be made, but it comes with weariness and disappointment. The one who aligns with the principle of abundance allows the current to carry them forward, covering greater distance with less effort, achieving more with greater ease. Alignment begins in thought, in the recognition that wealth is already present in the unseen, waiting to take form in the visible. It is not something chased after, but something drawn forth through awareness, affirmation, and trust. To align is to believe, to expect, to live as though supply is certain. It is to plant one's consciousness firmly in the conviction that the universe is overflowing with riches, and that these riches are available to every soul who claims them without fear. Work, when approached from alignment, becomes a channel of joy, a means of expressing creativity, a way through which supply flows rather than the source of supply itself. The job, the business, the endeavor, these are but instruments. The true source is the infinite abundance that fills every corner of creation. When the mind recognizes this, the hand is no longer heavy, the heart no longer burdened, and prosperity flows without resistance. Those who toil from fear often believe that effort alone guarantees success. They push, they strain, they exhaust themselves, yet find that money slips away as quickly as it comes. Those who live in alignment may expend less physical effort yet achieve greater results, because their inner state attracts what their outer labor alone could never secure. Alignment is the secret that transforms ordinary actions into extraordinary outcomes, for when the inner is in harmony with abundance, the outer must reflect it. The universe is not moved by struggle, but by certainty. A mind aligned with prosperity expects increase, and expectation becomes magnetism. It draws to itself clients, opportunities, promotions, inventions, ideas, and every manner of provision. Toil without alignment scatters energy in fear and doubt, but alignment gathers energy, focuses it, and directs it toward manifestation. Prosperity then ceases to appear random and begins to unfold as the natural effect of living in harmony with law. The individual discovers that their greatest wealth is not their labor, but their consciousness, and that once consciousness is aligned, all that is needed will arrive in its perfect time and form.